There's something you've carried with you your entire life. It's invisible, but it shapes every decision you make. It controls how you see yourself, how others respond to you, and how you show up in the world. You've called it you, your identity, your personality, your sense of self. But here's the truth most never hear. What you think is you isn't. The person you call yourself, with all the preferences, habits, insecurities, talents, dreams, and fears, is not a fixed truth. It's a collection, a code, a memory bank of repeated patterns and practiced reactions. It was not born in wholeness, it was constructed, layer by layer, moment by moment, through conditioning, repetition, and perception. And once you understand that, you hold the key to completely rewriting it. This series is not about improving the current version of you. It's not about adding a new morning routine, upgrading your habits, or tweaking how you communicate. That's surface-level work. It's cosmetic, and that kind of change always fades, because it doesn't touch the root. This is about quantum root-level identity shift, transforming who you are from the inside out, from the subatomic level to your conscious behaviors. This is about dismantling the illusion you've lived inside and rebuilding your identity with absolute precision and total control. You're going to see with clarity that your identity is not something you are, it's something you practice. And anything you practice can be rewritten. You will learn how identity is encoded in the neural circuitry of your brain. How your biology, down to the quantum level, responds to attention and choice. And how your reality bends to match the identity you radiate into the field. This transformation isn't philosophical. It's practical. It's not motivational. It's structural. And most importantly, it's not temporary. It's foundational. Across 40 breakthrough chapters, you'll unlearn the identity you were given. Construct the one you were designed to live. And then wield it like a high-level operator navigating reality from the inside out. We'll expose the subconscious programming you absorbed without permission. We'll rewrite the emotional codes that keep old patterns on repeat. We'll teach your body how to forget the trauma it's been rehearsing for years. We'll replace reaction with creation and passivity with authorship. And by the time this journey completes, your old self will feel like a story someone else lived. Now let's begin at the beginning. Because everything you're about to discover starts with one simple, undeniable truth. The self you think you are is an illusion. Let's make one thing absolutely clear from the start. Identity is not innate. It is not your essence. It's not something that just is. It's something that is repeated. You were not born with a fixed identity. You were born with potential, a quantum field of possibility. And from the moment you started absorbing language, behaviors, praise, punishment, love, and rejection, that potential was sculpted, not by choice, but by repetition. Every time you heard, "You're so quiet," every time you were told, "You're not good at that," every time you felt shame and made a note not to try again, you were rehearsing an identity. Rehearsal becomes memory. Memory becomes default. Default becomes who you think you are. But this is the liberating secret. If identity is a rehearsed program, then you're not stuck with the current version of it. You can rehearse something else. Let's break this down further. In your brain, patterns are formed through neurons firing together repeatedly. It's not talent that wires those patterns. It's not fate. It's consistency. That's why someone who constantly says, "I'm bad at public speaking," isn't cursed with that trait. They've just been firing that belief long enough that it became familiar. And the brain prefers familiarity over truth. You could repeat the opposite pattern just as consistently, and your brain wouldn't argue. It would rewire. It would adapt. Because identity at the neural level is not a moral truth, it's a practiced loop. This is where most personal growth methods get it wrong. They try to bolt new behaviors onto an old identity. They think they can add without changing the root system. But the identity you rehearse will always override the actions you try to force. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your self-image. Because self-image is not philosophical. It's biological. And biology is loyal to rehearsal. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. If you've rehearsed a disempowered identity, you've done so by focusing on limitations. But if you intentionally begin rehearsing power, capability, fluidity, and possibility, your brain doesn't resist it. It rewires. Let that sink in. Your brain doesn't care if the story is empowering or limiting. It only cares how often the story is told. And you have been telling yourself a story for years. You may have forgotten where it came from. You may not even believe it on a conscious level anymore. But if it's wired in as a repeated loop, then it's still operating as your identity. This is not about affirmations. This is about replacing the entire script your subconscious follows on autopilot. This is where real transformation begins, not from trying harder, but from rewriting the loop. Start with this question. Who do I think I am when no one is watching? That version, the automatic one, the one that doesn't require thought, that's the version your brain has rehearsed the most. Now here's the breakthrough. If you start rehearsing a different identity, daily, viscerally, emotionally, neurologically, your system doesn't know the difference between reality and repetition. It adapts, it responds, and it rewires. The you that exists today is a byproduct of unconscious rehearsal. The you that can exist tomorrow is a byproduct of conscious design. This changes everything, because the moment you stop rehearsing the old self and begin conditioning the new one, you set a quantum chain reaction into motion, one that changes how you think, how you feel, how you move, and eventually how the world responds to you. You're not changing yourself. You're unlearning the rehearsed self and rehearsing the one you were always capable of becoming. Next, we will explore the brain's hidden flexibility and how you can reprogram your internal architecture by design, not by default. Because now that you know identity is rehearsed, you're ready to discover how to physically rewire the machine that made it. Let's dismantle one of the most deeply embedded misconceptions people hold about themselves, the belief that identity is fixed. When you say, "I'm not that kind of person," you're revealing more than a fact. You're revealing a loop, a script, a neurological habit. This chapter is about exposing how that loop got written, and why the only reason you feel like you is because you've repeated the feeling, the voice, the belief, and the behavior enough times for it to become automatic. Let's begin with something brutally clear. Your identity isn't you. It's your pattern. Your nervous system doesn't care about the truth. It cares about what's familiar, what's been rehearsed, and what's been reinforced. From the earliest age, you started running lines from a script you didn't even know you were reading. Lines like, "I'm shy. I'm not creative. I'm the responsible one. I always mess things up. I have to earn love. I don't belong." And you repeated these lines not just mentally, but emotionally, physically, socially, over and over, in moments of stress, in environments of repetition, in relationships that kept confirming the same message. That repetition creates identity. Your identity is the muscle memory of your inner world. And just like any physical muscle, it doesn't form because something is true. It forms because something is used. Now let's get even more specific. The brain operates using a simple principle. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That means every time you respond to a situation in a certain way, like retreating from confrontation, hesitating before speaking, or assuming you'll fail, your brain strengthens that particular circuit. It gets more efficient at running that program. And the more efficient it gets, the less conscious it becomes. Eventually, it feels automatic, natural, you. But it's not you. It's just what's been rehearsed most. This is why change feels hard for so many. They're not up against logic, they're up against efficiency. They're not questioning who they are, they're breaking the autopilot that has made it feel real. The good news? Anything that was learned through repetition can be unlearned the same way. But you don't just erase the old script. You have to overwrite it. And overwriting isn't about information. It's about emotional rehearsal. You have to feel the new identity in your nervous system. You have to speak from it, walk from it, think from it. You have to make it more familiar than the old one. Let's get practical. Take the identity of being a people pleaser. If you've lived with that story, it likely started young, where approval became survival. Over time, your brain learned that shrinking your needs equaled safety. So you practiced it. Every time you said yes when you wanted to say no, you rehearsed that script again. But that's all it is, a script, a line you've practiced. And if you can rehearse that, you can rehearse the opposite. Rehearse boundaries. Rehearse silence. Rehearse saying what you mean, even if your voice shakes. And your nervous system, which is always watching, will adjust. Rehearsal doesn't require evidence. It requires consistency. And identity as a function doesn't check for truth. It checks for predictability. That means you can shape it. You can wire it. You can replace the code. But there's one thing you have to let go of first. The story that your personality is permanent. It isn't. It's plastic, flexible, malleable, and you are the author of that flexibility now. So here's the hard line. The longer you identify with a script you didn't choose, the longer you unconsciously reinforce it. But the second you stop repeating it, emotionally, verbally, socially, it starts to fade. You reclaim the author's seat. You begin to program yourself. And suddenly, I'm not that kind of person becomes, I'm becoming that kind of person by rehearsal. Next, we will uncover the real mechanics behind this rehearsal and why your brain isn't just allowing change. It's wired for it. Now that you understand identity as a rehearsed pattern, we move into the machinery behind it, your brain. Specifically, we're talking about neuroplasticity, the capacity of your brain to physically rewire itself in response to repeated thought, behavior, and emotional input. This isn't motivational language. This is hard neuroscience. Your brain is not a rigid structure. It's dynamic, responsive, and designed to adapt to whatever patterns you consistently engage with. It builds its architecture based on input, meaning whatever version of you keep showing it, it takes seriously. Let that land. When you repeatedly think, feel, and act in alignment with a specific version of yourself, your brain actually rewires to support that version. Synaptic connections thicken, neural pathways strengthen, hormonal balances shift, and over time, your brain becomes more efficient at being that version of you, whether you like it or not. But here's the power. Neuroplasticity works both ways. You can change the architecture, and you can do it intentionally. Let's simplify this. Neurons are cells that communicate with each other through electrical and chemical signals. Every time you think a thought or take an action, certain neurons fire. The more often they fire in sync, the more likely they are to wire together permanently. This is why negative self-talk becomes internal truth. Why anxiety becomes a default. Why shame becomes a baseline. It's not because they're accurate. It's because they've been reinforced. Neuroplasticity says, fire it enough and your brain will normalize it. So if you've normalized fear, doubt, overthinking, avoidance, it's not personal. It's mechanical. And if it's mechanical, it's changeable. Now, rewiring doesn't happen through information alone. You can't just tell your brain something new. You have to prove it through repetition, sensory input, and felt experience. That's where rituals, language, visualization, movement, and intention all matter. They're not just psychological tricks. They're how you program the new pattern in. For example, when you start visualizing a version of yourself who speaks with authority, holds eye contact, moves with certainty. You're not playing pretend. You're training neurons to fire in a new sequence. If you repeat this enough, daily, emotionally, without distraction, those sequences begin to wire together. Your nervous system begins to shift. You begin to become that version neurologically. Even if your external life hasn't caught up yet, your brain already has. This is how transformation begins. Internally, invisibly, and biologically. Let's break down how to activate neuroplasticity. Focused attention. Your brain won't rewire for something vague. You must give it specificity. You don't rehearse confidence. You rehearse speaking clearly in meetings, walking into a room without apology, saying no without guilt. Emotional engagement. Emotions are the glue that make neural changes stick. You can't mentally affirm change and emotionally feel fear. That creates friction. You must bring your emotional state into alignment with your chosen identity. Repetition over time. This is where most people fail. They expect instant rewiring. But the brain needs to be convinced that the new pattern is here to stay. That means daily input, not perfect input, consistent input. Environment matters. If your environment is reinforcing your old identity, through people, spaces, routines, your brain will struggle to overwrite it. Change your cues and you give your brain permission to update the map. The key insight: neuroplasticity is not reserved for recovery patients or young children. It's available to you right now, and your identity, once rehearsed unconsciously, can now be rehearsed by design. You can teach your brain who you are before the world reflects it. And if you hold that pattern long enough with clarity and repetition, the brain obeys, because it's loyal to practice, not to past. Your identity is not fixed. Your thoughts are not destiny. You are not locked in by biology. You are shaping biology with every belief you reinforce, every image you conjure, every behavior you allow. And now you know how to use the most powerful reprogramming port available: your mind on purpose. Next, we will explore how your biology responds even deeper, not just at the level of neurons, but all the way down to the quantum mechanics of your cells. Because if your brain can change through repetition, wait until you learn how your very atoms respond to who you believe you are. Now that you've seen how your brain rewires based on repetition and attention, we take the lens deeper, beyond the neural networks, beyond habit, beyond language. We go all the way down to your biology. And not just the biology of flesh and chemistry, the quantum biology of your body, where particles behave according to observation, not certainty. This isn't theory. It's the observable nature of physical reality. At the quantum level, you're not made of matter. You're made of energy fields and probabilities. And this energy field, the one that forms the building blocks of your body, responds to awareness. In other words, who you believe you are, alters how your body behaves, regenerates, and expresses. Let's break this into actionable truth. Your cells, the tiny living units that make up your organs, bones, brain, skin, don't operate independently. They're embedded in a field of bioelectric communication. That field is not neutral. It doesn't simply run like a machine. It is influenced by the information it receives. And here's where it gets groundbreaking. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns are information. Every thought you rehearse, "I'm stuck, I'm not good enough, I don't matter," releases not just brain signals, but electromagnetic frequencies into your biology. These frequencies change how genes express. They affect hormone production. They alter immune function. They even regulate cellular inflammation. You are not just thinking a thought. You are broadcasting an instruction to trillions of cells. And those cells are listening. Quantum biology reveals something most people never hear. Your body is not a passive receiver of fate. It is a participant in your self-concept. If you shift your belief at the root, your identity, you shift your biology. Not metaphorically, literally. This explains why people who experience radical internal transformations often see external health, posture, vitality, and presence shift without any traditional intervention. The field reorganizes the matter. Now let's connect this to the quantum reality of your particles. Every atom in your body is made of subatomic particles. These particles don't act like solid objects. They behave like potential. They exist as a wave, a probability, until observed. And when observed, they collapse into reality. What does this mean for identity? It means that who you believe yourself to be, the observer at the center of your internal reality, is not just thinking, it's collapsing waves into form. The consistent identity you embody tells your biology how to behave. It tells the quantum field what kind of reality to generate around you. And it tells your cells which instructions to follow. So when you rehearse a new identity with intention, with repetition, with emotional congruence, you're not just influencing your mindset. You're influencing your molecular blueprint. You are instructing your atoms to align with the version of you you're calling real. But here's the warning. If you rehearse a new identity for 5 minutes a day, and then for the other 23 hours and 55 minutes live in the frequency of fear, insecurity, or self-doubt, your field will follow the dominant signal. This isn't about trying to fake positivity. It's about becoming aware of what you're constantly instructing your biology to do. You are the programmer. and your cells are following the most repeated command. This is the doorway to true transformation. When you start observing yourself as the empowered version, consistently, emotionally, physically, your quantum field collapses around that signal. Reality reshapes. Health recalibrates. Energy returns. Behavior changes without force. Because you're no longer working against your biology. You've turned it into an ally. You're not affirming a better future. You're embodying a new broadcast. And every cell in your body is tuning to that signal. You are made of choices. Not just personality choices, atomic ones. And those choices start now. Next, we will challenge the very system that built your original programming. Because now that you've seen how deep the illusion runs, it's time to uncover the matrix that wrote it. Up until now, we've focused on the mechanics, how identity forms in the brain and body, and how quantum signals respond to belief. Now it's time to pull the curtain back on something even more critical, where the original identity code came from. Because if you've been rehearsing a version of you that's limiting, reactive, or self-canceling, you didn't invent it alone. You were born into a pre-installed mental operating system. And until now, you've probably never questioned it. This system isn't made of conspiracy, it's made of repetition. Culture, language, reward, punishment, social cues, conditioning patterns, emotional framing. From the moment you were born, you were plugged into a structure of identity assignment. You were given a name, a gender, a label, family role, a social expectation, a set of acceptable behaviors. And because survival depends on belonging, you absorbed these things without resistance. You internalized the operating system as truth. Let's call this OS1, the default operating system you've been running. It contains rules about who you're allowed to be, scripts about what's considered realistic, filters that control what you pay attention to, definitions of failure and success, beliefs about love, power, and worth. This system is not neutral. It's optimized for conformity, not for transformation. It's designed to keep you predictable, not powerful. And here's the cost. Every time you tried to break the pattern, speak differently, dream bigger, express something new, OS1 sent an internal alarm. A feeling of fear, guilt, awkwardness, or that's not me. That resistance didn't mean you were wrong. It meant you were operating outside the parameters of a system designed for your survival, not your evolution. Now here's where the shift begins. When you become aware of OS1, you no longer follow it unconsciously. You can begin to challenge it, replace it, rewrite it, because OS1 is not hardwired. It's coded, and all code can be reprogrammed. Start by locating the root assumptions of your OS. What do you believe you have to do to earn love? What behaviors feel unsafe, even if they're authentic? Who do you think you should be? And who do you secretly want to become? Every time you bring one of these assumptions into awareness, you weaken the unconscious hold of OS1. And once the hold is weakened, you can begin to install a new system, not built by default but by design. This is the beginning of OS2, the upgraded identity framework. And it doesn't come with preloaded rules. It comes with permission. Permission to think like the future you. Permission to question your reactions. Permission to update what's normal. To do this, you need a framework for replacement. You stop reacting with automatic beliefs. You start responding with conscious identity alignment. You replace shame-based rules with power-based truths. You decode every fear by tracing it back to who wrote the original rule. Because every rule has an author. And you're not the author of most of the ones you're still living by. Until now, you are not here to conform to the OS you inherited. You are here to replace it, to clear out legacy programming and write identity code that fits your frequency, your truth, your quantum self. You are not a storage device. You are a conscious system upgrade, and it begins with awareness. Now that you've seen the system for what it is, the root-level rewrite can begin. Next, we will begin constructing your upgraded framework and explore the exact steps to start reprogramming your internal operating system at its core. Now that you've exposed the old mental operating system, the invisible architecture that shaped your default identity. You're no longer bound to follow it. The moment you saw it clearly, its control started to weaken. And now that the code is visible, it's editable. This chapter is about one thing: beginning the rewrite. Up to this point, you've been running inherited scripts, unconscious rules, social conditioning. You didn't design this system. It was uploaded without your permission. But the moment you stop letting it dictate who you can be, you start authoring something new. Here's the core idea. You are not changing your life. You are changing the system that determines what kind of life you think is possible. The old system, OS 1, was rooted in external validation. It was built to minimize risk, maximize conformity, and create predictability. The new system, OS 2, is rooted in internal authorship. It's built to maximize alignment, creative control, and sovereign identity. You do not install OS 2 by thinking about it. You install it by embodying it. Let's walk through how to begin the installation. Step 1 is this: strip away inherited rules. You need to look directly at every "I should," every "I can't," every "that's just not who I am," and ask, who wrote this line of code? Did it come from fear, rejection, school, church, family, culture? If it didn't come from conscious choice, it's open for deletion. You are not betraying your past by rewriting it. You are reclaiming your authorship. Once the deletion process begins, you'll feel something disorienting. Space. That space is where OS 2 gets installed. But it doesn't happen automatically. You must now write new instructions. Ask yourself this: if I were not bound by my current personality, who would I program myself to be? This isn't fantasy. This is the origin of your quantum identity. What thoughts would you prioritize? What actions would be automatic? What boundaries would be non-negotiable? What would feel normal? Once you identify these, you begin constructing the code. You write it in thought. You wire it through speech. You encode it in movement. You stabilize it in ritual. This becomes your new behavioral baseline. To make this real, let's build your OS 2 launchpad using 4 pillars. Language rewrite. Replace every identity-limiting phrase with command-based language. Not, "I'm trying to be confident," but "confidence is now my default." Not, "I hope I succeed," but "my system is optimized for breakthrough." Emotional normalization. Start emotionally responding as if you already are the person you're becoming. If your OS 2 identity is powerful and calm, then when disruption arises, you respond through that lens. Not forcefully, authentically. Cognitive priming. Each morning, speak your OS 2 identity aloud. Not affirmations, commands. I move through my day with clarity. My words carry weight. I honor myself in every decision. Microaction alignment. Your new identity must translate into small, irreversible behaviors. Walk differently. Pause longer. Look people in the eye with steadiness. Say no with presence. These are the input signals that tell your nervous system, this is real now. Installation doesn't happen all at once. It's a system update. But every moment you choose to think, speak, and act from the new identity, you reinforce the code. Each behavior, each decision is a line in your new OS script. And slowly, then suddenly, your old identity becomes incompatible with your system. You stop defaulting to the past. You stop reacting from memory. You stop apologizing for existing. Your inner world begins to reflect who you consciously designed yourself to be, not who you were conditioned to become. And when that happens, everything external begins to shift as well. Because reality doesn't respond to your potential, it responds to your programming. Next, we will explore the illusion of time and how your past identity is not only editable, it was never real to begin with. You've now begun installing a new internal framework. Your mind and body are receiving new commands, but there's one more hidden source of resistance: the past. Not the events, the identity you attach to those events. Let's challenge the most dangerous illusion, that your past defines you. It doesn't. Your past is not a fixed record. It's a narrative, a personalized memory collage, filtered through emotion and interpreted meaning. But here's the twist. The human brain does not store memories as unchangeable archives. It reconstructs them each time they are recalled. This means every time you remember an event, you are editing it, even if you don't realize it. And the version of the story you reinforce becomes the version you identify with. This is not just theory. It's neuroscience. Studies show that memory is malleable, that each recall reinforces or slightly alters the stored narrative, that your mind isn't a camera, it's a storyteller. And if that's true, then the version of you that emerged from those memories is not fact. It's habitual fiction. This opens a powerful door. You are not bound by the truth of your past. You can edit the meaning you gave it. And when you edit the meaning, you alter the identity that formed from it. Let's go deeper. Say you were told at age 12 that you weren't creative, that you lacked talent. That memory formed emotion. Emotion formed belief. Belief became identity. Now fast forward 20 years. You still believe you just aren't creative. But that wasn't a fact. It was one moment, one sentence, reinforced by emotional charge and memory recall. What happens when you go back, not to erase it, but to reframe it? You see the person who said it wasn't wise. You realize their words were a projection. You rewrite the moment from your current awareness. And then you feel something shift. Not intellectually, physiologically. That shift is not nostalgia. It's neurorewiring. You are not healing the memory. You are replacing the story that the memory used to anchor. This practice is called timeline editing, and it's one of the most powerful tools in identity shift. You take the moments that shaped your unconscious identity and bring them back into conscious authorship. Here's how to begin. Locate the identity scar. Ask yourself, what belief about myself has followed me the longest? Trace it back. Identify the root moment or series of moments. Observe without drama. Don't emotionally relive the pain. Observe it from your current empowered state. Step into the role of conscious witness. Challenge the meaning. Ask, is the meaning I gave this moment still valid? Often, you'll find it was a conclusion made from fear, not truth. Insert the new narrative. Reframe the story using new language. I was not broken. I was absorbing survival patterns. That moment didn't define me. It distracted me from who I really was. Anchor it physically. After the reframing, anchor the new meaning with action. Move your body. Speak your new identity aloud. Burn the old narrative symbolically. Reinforce the shift with ritual. Every time you reframe a past narrative, you reclaim a piece of your identity that had been trapped in memory. You stop living as the version of you shaped by survival and start living as the version shaped by conscious design. This isn't spiritual bypass. This is neurological sovereignty. You are not your past. You are the editor of your timeline. And once you stop letting old memories write your present identity, you gain a power most people never access. The ability to change how the past affects your now and your next. Next, we will explore the opposite axis of identity, your future, and how you can pull confidence, clarity, and power from a self that already exists ahead of you in the field. You've just learned that your past identity isn't permanent. It was a flexible narrative stitched together by repetition, emotion, and unconscious meaning. Once that's exposed, you become the editor. But editing the past is only half of the transformation. To complete the identity shift, you must now reach forward, not to a goal, not to an ideal, but to a version of you that already exists in potential. This is where we activate future pacing. Most people think the future is something they move toward, a distant outcome waiting to be earned, a reward for discipline, a result of external success. That's a myth. The future is not ahead of you. It's already encoded in the field. At every moment, infinite versions of you exist as possibilities. Each one vibrates at a different frequency of thought, behavior, language, and embodiment. And your current self, the one watching this, is tuned into one specific version based on the identity you broadcast. Future pacing is the act of locking onto the signal of a more expanded version of you and pulling its confidence, clarity, and embodiment into your present reality. Not visualization, not wishing, integration. You begin treating your future identity as more real than your past self. And when your nervous system accepts this, your life begins to reorganize around that truth. Let's clarify how this works. Say there's a version of you 5 years from now who leads without hesitation, creates impact effortlessly, and speaks with absolute alignment. That version isn't waiting for you. That version is already encoded into your field of possibilities. Your job is to locate its frequency and bring it into your system now. Here's how to begin. Define the signal. This future version of you has a texture, a rhythm, a tone. What do they say no to? How do they hold space in conversations? What environments are they naturally drawn to? Get specific, not with external outcomes, but with internal patterns. Break familiarity with the present self. To install the future self, you must disrupt the autopilot of who you are today. This means noticing every moment when you act in alignment with the old self and interrupting it. Not with shame, with authority. You say, that pattern no longer applies. Embody through behavior. Future pacing doesn't work through imagination alone. It becomes real through microactions. Make a decision today that only the future you would make. Say something bold. Walk into the room differently. Raise your standards in conversation. Speak from the future. Shift your language to reflect what's already true in that timeline. Not, I'm working on becoming more confident, but I no longer explain myself. Not, I'm learning to trust myself, but my intuition is my final authority. This is not delusion. This is energetic precision. Language is one of the fastest ways to signal identity to your nervous system. Speak as though your quantum self is already in control, and your biology responds. Now let's address resistance. Your current identity is built for homeostasis. It's designed to protect the familiar. So when you begin speaking, thinking, and acting from the future, your system may rebel. It will whisper, that's not realistic. It will nudge, be careful. Don't get ahead of yourself. These are echoes of OS1, the legacy operating system trying to preserve its control. You are not obligated to obey. Instead, use resistance as a cue. It means you're stepping out of alignment with the old and synchronizing with the new. The more uncomfortable it feels, the more powerful the shift. There's one final piece to understand. Future pacing works because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined identity and a remembered one. If you immerse fully, emotionally, physically, behaviorally, your system records the future identity as if it already happened. And this is the quantum key. Once the new identity is recorded, your system begins recalibrating everything. Your perception, your decisions, your posture, your tone, your opportunities, to match that recording. You stop trying to become. You simply are. And reality follows. You're not chasing a better self. You're locking into the frequency of your already available self and choosing to live from it now. Next, we will explore how this internal identity broadcast interacts with the external world and how your entire environment is reflecting your internal self-image back at you. You've begun aligning with your future self. You've seen that the field responds not to potential but to frequency. Now let's examine what's been reflecting back at you all along. Your external reality. Because everything around you, the way people respond, the situations that repeat, the obstacles you face, is not separate from you. It is a mirror, not metaphorically, energetically. Reality is not static. It is shaped by your identity and the beliefs that identity broadcasts into the quantum field. Let's break this down. Your thoughts generate emotion. Your emotions emit frequency. Your frequency influences behavior, posture, voice, and decisions. Those behaviors interact with the world, and the world responds accordingly. This creates a feedback loop. You feel unsure. You act hesitantly. People sense it. They respond with uncertainty. You interpret that as proof that you should feel unsure. But that loop didn't begin with reality. It began with identity. This means the world you're experiencing is not the result of circumstances. It's the amplification of your internal broadcast. If you constantly experience being overlooked, dismissed, or unseen, it's not random. It's not bad luck. It's the mirror reflecting the frequency of self-doubt or invisibility you've rehearsed unconsciously. Once you see this, you gain power. Because if you change the broadcast, the mirror changes. Here's how to begin upgrading your signal. Interrupt identity reflection loops. When a situation arises that confirms an old belief, pause. Don't react automatically. Say, "This is just a reflection of an old signal. I no longer reinforce it." Then act from the new identity. Amplify presence before you enter a space. Before stepping into any environment, a meeting, a date, a family gathering, stop and calibrate. Ask, what version of me is walking in? Consciously activate your quantum identity. The room responds not to your words, but to your state. Observe without personalizing. If people react with discomfort, confusion, or withdrawal, don't shrink. Recognize they're adjusting to your new frequency. That's not rejection. It's recalibration. Your field is disrupting the equilibrium they're used to. Stay congruent. Let the world catch up. Use reality as data. Every experience is a reflection of your current identity signal. If you keep attracting clients who don't value your time, or relationships that test your worth, ask, what in me still tolerates this? Then update the code. You don't fix the mirror by yelling at it. You fix it by changing the signal that reaches it. This is not about controlling everything around you. It's about becoming so aligned internally that everything around you must adapt. The mirror has no choice. Now, some people misunderstand this and try to perform confidence. They fake power. They mimic presence. But the mirror doesn't respond to performance. It responds to energetic congruence. If you act bold but feel unworthy, the field reads the unworthiness. If you speak loudly but feel fraudulent, the room hears the fraud. But when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with a real identity upgrade, the mirror bends. Reality starts affirming what you truly believe you are. This is why people who shift identity deeply often notice rapid changes in how they're treated, without changing anything externally. Because the mirror doesn't reflect effort. It reflects identity. If you want a different world, don't fight the reflection. Change the root image. And the root image is the self you embody when no one's watching. Once that image shifts, once it becomes clear, empowered, aligned, the entire external loop follows. Reality has never been against you. It's been echoing the version of you you've believed in most. And starting now, you get to decide what it echoes next. Next, we will uncover how to go beyond reflection and begin altering what the world sends back by actively shifting your energetic field. You now understand that reality is not just reacting to your actions. It's responding to your energetic identity. Like a mirror, it reflects the frequency you live in. But understanding the mirror isn't enough. At this level of identity work, it's time to do more than reflect. You're here to manipulate the field. This is where transformation becomes reality engineering. You no longer wait to see how life responds. You broadcast a command, and the world shifts accordingly. Let's define the field. You are surrounded by an energetic environment, an invisible matrix of possibility and probability. This field is not neutral. It's intelligent, and it responds directly to what you signal with your thoughts, posture, speech, and expectations. So far, you've become conscious of your broadcast. But now we make it intentional. You will learn to alter the reflection you receive by altering the signature you emit. Here's the core principle. The world is not reflecting what you say you want. It's reflecting who you are being. You can say, I deserve respect. But if your energy communicates doubt, guilt, or self-minimization, the field mirrors that, not your words. The field doesn't speak English. It speaks vibration. So how do you manipulate it? You don't force it. You tune to it. Step 1. Establish frequency authority. You must become the dominant signal in any environment you enter. That doesn't mean being loud or charismatic. It means walking in with frequency clarity so strong that the field around you bends instead of resisting. Before you walk into a room, ask, what does the version of me I'm becoming feel like? What frequency does that self broadcast? Calmly, steadily, without needing validation. Then embody it before you even cross the threshold. Step 2. Energetic lock-in. The field is reactive. It responds quickly, but inconsistently if you're inconsistent. You must lock in your signal long enough for the external world to adjust. This means you can't bounce between identities when pressure hits. You can't embody power at 9 a.m. and revert to unworthiness by 3 p.m. and expect stable results. The field rewards consistency. Hold the signal, even when no one else mirrors it back. Especially then. Step 3. Collapse the conflicting signals. Most people walk through life broadcasting mixed messages. They say they're confident but embody avoidance. They say they want growth but tolerate chaos. They say they're ready for more but think thoughts of fear. To manipulate the field, your emotional, mental, and behavioral signals must align. If your energy contradicts your intention, the field reflects the contradiction. So take full control. Audit your behaviors. Are your gestures shrinking your presence? Is your tone apologizing when it should be declaring? Are your decisions based on expansion or fear? The version of you who shapes reality does so because their presence is congruent. Not perfect, congruent. Step 4. Use contrast as confirmation. When you hold a powerful signal, the field often responds with turbulence at first. Why? Because it's reorganizing. You're disrupting a system that's used to the older version of you. People, circumstances, even your environment may try to pull you back unconsciously. Don't interpret this as failure. Interpret it as confirmation that you're shifting the template. Stay stable. When you remain energetically aligned despite contrast, the field recalibrates. And once it's locked in, it starts giving you new feedback, new mirrors, new opportunities. You walk into a meeting and people listen differently. You raise your standards in a relationship and the dynamic shifts. You start speaking clearly and the noise around you settles. These aren't coincidences. They're reflections of a manipulated field responding to a clarified identity. This is not charisma. This is not charm. This is energetic authorship. Let go of seeking validation. Let go of hoping people see the real you. Broadcast the real you so clearly, so steadily, that the field must echo it. This is power without force. And once mastered, it becomes a silent superpower. You're no longer adjusting to your environment. You're tuning the environment to your signal. Next, we will move into a realization even more profound. You are not one identity. You are a constellation, a multiverse of potential selves. You've now developed the skill of manipulating your field, of broadcasting identity as a frequency and receiving reality as a reflection. This is a major shift in personal power. But to continue evolving, there's another layer you must unlock. A truth that changes the game completely. You are not one self. You are a symphony of selves. You've been taught to think of your identity as singular, fixed, maybe with a few personality quirks or moods, but still one person. This idea is false, and it's limiting. You contain multiple selves. Not metaphorically, neurologically, psychologically, energetically, and until you recognize, name, and direct them, they compete for control. Let's break this down. In different situations, you show up differently. At work, you might be structured, focused, direct. In relationships, you might become soft, vulnerable, reactive. In creative flow, you might feel visionary, intuitive, bold. Under stress, you might revert to avoidance or sarcasm or shutdown. Each of these states is not a mood. It's a self-configuration, a cluster of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that activate under specific conditions. These are your inner identities, and they operate like programs. The challenge is this: most people have no conscious control over which self takes over. Their environment, emotions, or triggers decide. And so they live like a passenger in their own system, switching identities based on circumstance. But there's another option. You can become the conductor of the symphony. Instead of waiting to see which version of you shows up, you begin choosing intentionally. Need clarity in a meeting? Call forward your strategic self. Need emotional wisdom in conflict? Activate your inner sovereign. Need resilience during failure? Step into the warrior archetype. These are not fantasy roles. They are neural patterns you can install and call upon at will. Here's how to begin. Identify yourselves. Start naming the versions of you that already exist. Which one handles money? Which one shows up when you're scared? Which one you trust the most? Which one causes chaos? Name them. Write their patterns. Clarify how they sound, move, decide. Observe transitions. Notice when one self hands the wheel to another. Does your confident self give way to your appeaser in certain rooms? Does your visionary self collapse into overthinking when questioned? Track these shifts. They reveal where your power leaks. Choose the lead self daily. Before you begin your day, declare, "Today, the version of me that leads is underserved." Speak as that self. Walk as that self. React as that self. When another self tries to take control, pause and recalibrate. You're not ignoring it. You're overriding it. Upgrade the team. Some of your inner selves were created in trauma. Others in survival. You're not required to keep them all. Some must be retired. Others evolved. New ones created. You might install a leader self who takes command in business. Or a peacekeeper self who holds boundaries without guilt. Or a creator self who channels wild, uninhibited energy. These selves become your internal team. But you are the one who assigns the roles. Avoid identity fusion. Never say, "This is just who I am." That's fusion. That's locking oneself in place and dismissing the others. Instead, say, "This is the self I'm activating right now." That's freedom. You are not the anxious self. You're the one noticing the anxious self. You are not the bold self. You're the one choosing to express through it. You are not your parts. You are the pattern maker. And the moment you embrace this, your range expands. You stop feeling fake when switching states. You stop apologizing for growth. You stop getting stuck in the wrong self for the moment. You move with intelligence, precision, authority. You speak from alignment, not reaction. You create from presence, not identity addiction. And over time, your system becomes symphonic. Each self playing its role. None overpowering. All integrated. This is multidimensional living. And most people never get close to it. But you are now in command. You are not one thing. You are many. And every version is a tool, not a prison. Next, we will activate the hidden versions of you that you've never allowed to emerge, and start integrating them into the identity shift already in motion. You now understand that identity isn't singular. It's made up of multiple selves, each with its own role, patterns, and tone. But what about the versions of you that never had a chance to speak? The selves that remain silent not because they're unworthy, but because they were never invited? This is where true expansion begins, by activating the dormant selves. Dormant selves are versions of you that remain locked beneath habit, fear, conditioning, or suppression. They are not weak. They are under-accessed. And they've been waiting. You've met parts of yourself before. The inner critic, the fixer, the achiever. But what about the artist who never got permission? The leader who stayed hidden to avoid conflict? The provocateur who tells raw truth without apology? The visionary who creates new worlds without external validation? These aren't fantasies. They're neurological potentials. Each dormant self has a structure, emotional tone, behavioral pattern, visual posture, and each one exists in the field of possibility. Your task is to summon them into form. Let's begin. Step 1. Track your longing. Dormant selves often show up as longing. That itch when you see someone speaking powerfully on stage. That pull when you hear music and feel something wake up. That frustration when you watch others build with boldness and you stay silent. That's not envy. That's a signal. It's your inner intelligence saying you have this, too. Track those signals. Write them down. Ask, if there were no fear, what version of me would emerge here? That's your dormant self knocking. Step 2. Reconstruct the block. Every dormant self is buried under a reason, a belief, a rule, an emotional charge. Maybe you silenced your creator self because someone mocked your art. Maybe you buried your leader self after being punished for being too much. Maybe your truth teller got labeled difficult, so you learned to water everything down. Your job now is to find the moment and say, "That rule is not mine anymore." Then collapse the reason. Speak it aloud. I am no longer punishing myself for someone else's discomfort. I release the fear of being misunderstood. I revoke the silence I agreed to when I was trying to stay safe. The brain listens. The nervous system responds. The dormant self begins to stir. Step 3. Build the identity frame. Every dormant self needs a container, not theory, form. Give it a name or title, posture, a style of speech, a domain of power. This is not playing dress-up. This is anchoring neural configuration into real-world cues. For example, your architect self might wear minimalist clothing, speak in few words, and walk with measured confidence. Your raw self might have looser posture, louder presence, and speak without buffering. Your healer self may move slowly, speak softly, and hold space like air. The more you define it, the more the body learns how to access it on command. Step 4. Create the activation ritual. Choose a time and space to introduce this dormant self into your life. Make it non-negotiable. A meeting, a walk, a call, a recording. Before the moment, breathe. Inhale as your default self. Exhale as your dormant self coming to life. Then show up as them without disclaimers or preparation. Even if the voice shakes, even if the body resists, that's the shedding of the old code. Don't judge the first version. Just allow it. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. And here's the secret. The dormant self isn't new. It's native. The rest was software. Step 5. Integrate, don't isolate. Once activated, the dormant self isn't a costume to wear on special days. It becomes part of your internal counsel. Let it influence how you speak in every domain. Let it reframe your decisions. Let it interrupt the autopilot of your old identity. This self was not hiding because it was weak. It was waiting until you were strong enough to hold its power without apology. Now you are. And the more dormant selves you bring online, the more multidimensional your identity becomes. You gain access to range, resonance, readiness. You are no longer stuck in reactive patterns. You are operating with conscious, crafted expression. This is identity expansion, not by ambition but by activation. And your life will begin to reflect it. People will notice something they can't quite name. Rooms will shift when you enter. Opportunities will appear that once seemed unreachable. Because your field now contains new data. Dormant no longer. Awake. Available. Alive. Next, we will now focus on the infrastructure behind every identity. The belief system it's built upon, and how to design one that matches your new self. You've begun activating selves you didn't know you had, reclaiming emotional territory that was once locked away. But to hold these new expressions long-term, you need more than permission. You need architecture. Your identity doesn't float freely. It's built on a grid of beliefs. Not the ones you say out loud, the ones your nervous system quietly obeys. These beliefs form your internal worldview. And until now, they were inherited, reactive, or unconscious. That ends here. This chapter is about designing your belief system like a master builder. Not patching holes, constructing pillars. Because you don't rise beyond your beliefs. You operate within them. Let's start with clarity. Every identity rests on a supporting structure, a set of beliefs about the world, about others, and most critically, about the self. For example, I have to earn rest creates an identity of overextension. People leave when I speak truth creates an identity of suppression. Too much visibility is dangerous creates an identity that stays dimmed. None of these beliefs are inherently true. They are simply enforced by repetition. And enforced beliefs become identity cages. So the first task is to see them. Step 1. Audit the identity infrastructure. Ask, what would I have to believe in order to keep acting the way I do? What fear is underneath my daily habits? What do I assume is always true about me, others, or life? Write these answers. Don't filter them. You're exposing the wiring behind your patterns. Step 2. Challenge the core lie. Every false identity has one or two central lies holding it up. locate them, then dismantle them with force. Examples: if I'm not exceptional, I'm not worthy. If I disappoint someone, I lose connection. If I slow down, everything collapses. Now speak the opposite, even if your nervous system hesitates. I am safe being average and still valuable. Connection doesn't require performance. Slowness increases power. This is not just affirmation, it's construction. Step 3. Install new core beliefs. Now choose your 3 primary pillars. These will serve as the architectural base of your future identity. These are not hopes, these are rules. For example, my voice changes space. I am safe in visibility. My identity evolves in public without apology. Repeat them, build upon them, let them guide new decisions. Step 4. Behavior as blueprint. New beliefs don't stick without behavioral reinforcement. Every time you act as if these new beliefs are true, the body accepts the upgrade. So don't just speak the belief, prove it. You say, I'm powerful even when calm. Now you sit in silence without scrambling for control. That's the blueprint reinforcing the architecture. You say, I'm worthy even in failure. Now you share the misstep publicly with no shrinkback. That's reinforcement in action. Step 5. Test and retest in real environments. Your belief system must survive external conditions. So put it to the test. Speak truth to someone who expects your silence. Ask for what you actually want, not the filtered version. Say no where you used to default to yes. Every stress test is an integration ritual. Your nervous system watches. Your brain adapts. The new structure strengthens. And slowly, the old identity no longer fits. Not because you resisted it, but because you rewrote the foundation it was built on. This is not just mindset work. It's identity engineering. You are becoming the architect of your own operating code. Your beliefs are no longer ghost-written by history. They are authored by alignment. Now, your new selves have somewhere to live. Now, your field has structure behind the signal. Now, you don't have to hold transformation. It holds you. Next, we will go even deeper into the invisible mechanisms running beneath your emotions and rewrite the internal algorithms that have shaped your responses for years. You've now rebuilt your belief system with intention. What you think, expect, and allow has shifted structurally. But there's a deeper layer of conditioning that runs on autopilot, one that doesn't just affect how you think, but how you feel in real time. We're talking about emotion as code. Emotions are not random. They are pre-coded algorithms that execute automatically when certain inputs appear. A tone of voice, a glance, a setback, a risk, a silence. You don't choose the response. It runs. But here's the truth. That emotional code wasn't written by your highest self. It was written by survival. And it hasn't been updated in years. You've got emotional reactions firing from a version of you that no longer exists. A glance from someone still triggers the fear of judgment you felt in high school. A slow day still makes you feel like you're failing. A disagreement still makes you freeze like you did when love once felt conditional. You're not broken. You're just running outdated code. And now you're going to rewrite it. Step 1. Recognize the automation. Think about this. You walk into a room and instantly feel small. You hear critique and immediately feel defensive. You receive attention and suddenly want to shrink. These responses are not chosen. They are scripts, emotional algorithms that run without your consent. Your first job is to notice them without judgment. Say, this is not who I am. This is code that got installed when I needed protection. Step 2. Trace the original installation. Where did that emotional pattern begin? Not the most recent trigger, the original one. Find it. Name it. That time someone laughed when you expressed yourself. That moment your confidence was punished. That subtle conditioning that taught you your truth was too much. That's where the line of code was written. You can't fully overwrite it until you see its origin. Once you find it, say out loud, this emotion made sense then. It does not serve me now. That line is your interrupt signal, the beginning of emotional reprogramming. Step 3. Replace reaction with response. Now that you've interrupted the code, you must replace it not with suppression but with conscious emotional alternatives. You felt shame? Replace it with dignity. You felt panic? Replace it with stability. You felt unworthy? Replace it with quiet certainty. Not through force, through emotional rehearsal. Every time the old reaction flares up, insert the new response immediately, in tone, breath, and behavior. If the old code says shut down, speak a line. If the old code says run, stay still. If the old code says explain, say nothing. This is not pretending. It's overriding. Your nervous system is always watching. Every override teaches it that a new program is now the default. Step 4. Build an emotional language map. Many people only know 5 or 6 emotions. Happy, sad, mad, scared, anxious, numb. But your internal world has hundreds of emotional tones. If you don't name them with nuance, you can't direct them with precision. Expand your emotional vocabulary. Instead of mad, name it as betrayed, dismissed, or overruled. Instead of anxious, ask if it's actually anticipatory energy without direction. Instead of numb, ask if you're feeling emotionally overloaded with no release valve. Once you name it correctly, you stop being run by it. You start choosing how to code your next move. Step 5. Create emotional anchors. If your system is used to reacting unconsciously, you need anchors to support the new responses. These anchors can be a short phrase, I'm still here, a breath ritual, inhale power, exhale clarity, a posture reset, shoulders back, chest open, eyes stable, a physical symbol, a ring, bracelet, or tattoo that grounds you into your new identity. These are not gimmicks. They're sensory reinforcement mechanisms. They remind the body that the emotion no longer commands it. And here's the truth. The more you overwrite the old emotional reactions, the more your entire identity shifts from being reactive to being responsive. You move from survival to authorship, from volatility to clarity, from reliving emotion to using it. This is what it means to rewrite your internal algorithms. It's not about becoming robotic. It's about becoming sovereign, no longer at the mercy of inherited emotion. Now the writer of emotional intelligence from the root level. Next, we will go deeper into the final archive of the old identity, the body itself, and explore how to reprogram the physical memory holding the past in place. By now, your beliefs have shifted. Your emotional code is being rewritten. You've activated hidden selves and started aligning your internal reality with a new operating system. But there's one more layer that can't be ignored, your body. Because even if your thoughts have evolved, your body still remembers who you used to be. The nervous system doesn't just store trauma, it stores identity. In your posture, your breath, your micro-expressions, your reflexes in moments of tension. This chapter is about somatic reprogramming, teaching your body that the old identity is no longer in charge. Let's get clear. You don't just have emotional habits. You have physiological patterns. A slouch that says, I shouldn't take up space. A shallow breath that signals, stay small, stay safe. Tension in the jaw every time power is claimed. A chest collapse when visibility increases. These aren't quirks. They are memory loops. And unless they're released, your body will keep signaling the field to treat you like your past self, no matter how much mental work you've done. So we begin with awareness through observation. Step 1. Map the body's identity loops. Take one day to observe your body every hour. How are you sitting or standing? Where is your breath landing, throat, chest, or belly? What's the default facial expression when alone? What part of your body tightens during difficult conversations? Write it down. Don't try to fix it. Just track the patterns. What you find will reveal more than journaling ever could. Step 2. Trace the physical pattern to the identity origin. Ask, what story does this posture belong to? That slump might say, don't attract attention. That tight jaw might say, hold it together. Don't show weakness. That breathlessness might say, I'm not safe here. Once you identify the story, you no longer obey the pattern unconsciously. You can now reassign meaning. Step 3. Create interruptive movement. The body listens more to movement than to logic. When you feel yourself slipping into old posture, stop and change state. Stand, shake, breathe deep, move your hips, widen your stance. These movements confuse the old pattern and create space for new ones. They are not random. They are somatic interruptions. Each one says to the nervous system, new input is now available. Step 4. Install a new baseline configuration. Now that the body's old story is softening, you must teach it a new one. Practice. Standing with presence. Feet rooted, shoulders rolled back, spine long. Speaking from your core, not your throat. Holding eye contact just 10% longer than feels safe. Breathing slowly when urgency hits. These actions are the physical code of your new identity. Practice them until they feel boring, because that's when they become default. Step 5. Use somatic anchors to reinforce transformation. Use short, powerful physical rituals to signal new baselines. A hand on the heart when shame rises. A touch to the chest when you want to revert to hiding. One full exhale before speaking hard truths. A stretch of the arms upward before making requests. These are microsignals to your body. We are not who we used to be. And over time, the body learns to stop predicting danger when you express power. To stop locking down when you speak truth. To stop whispering old warnings when you stand up straight. Your body begins to trust you again. This is the point where physical alignment meets energetic recalibration. Your posture becomes the loudest declaration of your identity. Before you say a word, your presence speaks it. Because the body, once conditioned for contraction, is now conditioned for command. You are not just thinking new thoughts. You are moving like the new self. And that movement is what makes the change visible, magnetic, and irreversible. Next, we will begin to lock in the shift, with identity-stabilizing rituals that imprint your new frequency into the field permanently. Your beliefs are rewritten. Your emotional patterns are recoded. Your dormant selves are activated. Your body has begun to release the physical reflexes of your old identity. But now you must step into something more permanent: embodiment. This is not a concept. It's not theory. It's not mindset. Embodiment is the visible, energetic expression of your identity, moment to moment. The world doesn't respond to what you believe internally. It responds to what you transmit through behavior. Embodiment means the transformation is no longer something you're working on. It's something you are living through your breath, movement, tone, and gaze. Let's clarify the distinction. Transformation without embodiment is fragile. You understand the new identity, but in high-stakes environments, you revert. You sound different in your journal than you do in public. You believe in confidence but still walk like you're trying not to be noticed. This dissonance tells the world, my shift is internal. Don't expect to see it yet. And the world obeys. To change the external response, you must make the transformation physical. Here's how. Step 1. Code the new identity into movement. Ask yourself, how does the future me walk into a room? What kind of eye contact do they hold? Do they fidget or do they anchor? Do they speak with rising intonation or with grounded weight? Do they sit with their spine collapsed or aligned like a force of nature? The nervous system watches posture. The field reads posture. Shift posture, shift identity. Practice this in micro-contexts, from your front door to the kitchen, from your car to the office, from the waiting room to the meeting. Don't rehearse the old gait. Don't slouch through the hallway and hope to transform on stage. Every step is practice for congruence. Step 2. Recalibrate breath as identity carrier. Your breath tells the field what emotional state you're in. It shapes voice tone, mental clarity, and nervous system availability. Most people operate with short, shallow, anxious breaths, sending a signal of urgency and smallness. But your new identity requires slow, present, regulated breathing, especially under pressure. Practice this rhythm. Inhale with command. Hold with presence. Exhale without collapse. Not just once a day. Integrate it into daily motion. Walking, typing, talking, waiting. This breath becomes your energetic baseline. Step 3. Make movement deliberate, not default. Insecurity speeds everything up. Power slows everything down. Train yourself to move with intention. Put your phone down with awareness. Turn your head before you move your eyes. Wait one extra beat before responding. Move your hand purposefully when you speak. These are micro-patterns that build macro-presence. They say, I'm here. I'm in control of myself. My body obeys the frequency I choose. The field responds immediately. People feel the difference, even if they can't articulate it. Step 4. Upgrade your gaze and expression. Your eyes reveal who's running the show. If the gaze is hesitant, darting, or diluted, no words can compensate. Practice neutral, present gaze, not threatening, not shrinking. Your new self doesn't need to dominate. They only need to be seen and certain. The same goes for your facial tone. Practice relaxed jaw, lifted eyes, unforced expressions. Stop trying to please with your smile. Let it emerge only when congruent. Your face is no longer a social mask. It is a transmission device for your identity. Step 5. Commit to environmentally consistent embodiment. You don't just embody your identity when it's easy. You embody it in the exact places where your old self used to retreat. In conflict, in meetings, in negotiation, in intimacy, in uncertainty. These are your proving grounds. You're not being inauthentic, you're being in command. You walk into the situation as the new self, not to prove anything, not to win approval, but because this is who you are now, and your body is the loudest confirmation. And here's the shift. Once embodiment is consistent, you stop thinking about who you are. You stop narrating your transformation. You stop asking, am I doing it right? Because your body becomes the identity. No permission needed. No explanation required. You don't talk about presence. You radiate it. You don't seek validation. You walk like someone whose cells already decided. Embodiment is not performance. It's the moment where your inner frequency and outer behavior finally match. And from that moment forward, reality treats you like the new you, because it has no other choice. Next, we will complete the identity shift lock-in, using powerful rituals designed to collapse quantum probability into lasting, irreversible form. You've rebuilt your belief system, you've reprogrammed emotion, you've restructured behavior, and now your body reflects the new identity. But for the identity shift to become permanent, we must collapse the quantum wave. Here's what that means. In quantum theory, a particle exists in a state of possibility called a wave function until it's observed. When it's observed, the wave collapses into form. That act of observation brings potential into physical reality. Your identity works the same way. The future version of you, confident, clear, visible, calm, commanding, already exists as potential in your field. But until you collapse it through conscious ritual, it remains a possibility. Unstable, fragile, optional. This chapter is about creating identity lock-in rituals that make your transformation unmistakably real, to your system, your reality, and your field. Let's build your collapse protocol. Step 1. Declare the death of the old identity. You must create a ritual to consciously retire the version of you that no longer serves. Not metaphorically, literally. Choose a time and space. Light a candle. Speak aloud. I thank the version of me that kept me safe, that adapted, that survived. But you are no longer in command. Your role is complete. Your contract is ended. You are now history, not identity. Then breathe. Close your eyes. Visualize that version of you walking away, not in sadness, in relief. A door closes. You turn away. This ritual collapses emotional attachment to the old self. Step 2. Anchor the new identity in physical form. Choose a tangible object that symbolizes your new self. A piece of jewelry, a watch, pen, pair of shoes, a garment you wear in high-stakes moments. Hold it. Assign it meaning. Speak the identity into it. This item is not decoration. It is a transmitter of who I am now. When I wear it, touch it, use it, I remember. This turns the symbolic into the somatic. Your nervous system begins associating the item with authority, presence, and stability. Step 3. Choose an initiation behavior. Initiation is different from practice. It's the first irreversible behavior that says, "I'm never going back." It might be a bold request you would have once avoided, a public message you would have feared sharing, a boundary drawn with absolute clarity, a truth spoken without apology. This is not about theatrics. It's about proof. Your brain learns most effectively through action. Collapse the wave with an act that can't be undone. Step 4. Create a daily lock-in ritual. You need a consistent ritual that tells your system, "This is who we are now." This might be a short spoken identity code. "I am the one who underserves." A breath plus movement sequence done every morning. A personal oath spoken before stepping into your highest pressure space each day. Keep it simple. Keep it repeatable. Make it yours. This becomes your daily signal to collapse the wave again and again, until the probability is no longer questioned. Step 5. Symbolically eliminate regression cues. Look at your environment. Remove items, media, routines, and visual triggers that reinforce the old identity. Delete the playlists tied to the emotional loops you've transcended. Donate clothes that reflect a previous version of how you minimized yourself. Restructure your space to reflect someone who no longer shrinks. Your space is a feedback loop. If it holds the past, it keeps you rehearsing the past. Collapse the wave by designing a world that reflects the new code. Final step. Witness the feedback and stay unmoved. Once you collapse the wave, the field begins to shift. People will treat you differently. Systems around you will either resist or adapt. Opportunities will reroute to meet the new signal. Unstable connections will dissolve. Aligned ones will lock in. This is all feedback, and your only job is to remain consistent in frequency. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to prove the change. You've locked it in. You've collapsed the wave. You've stepped into form. And now, the quantum field mirrors only what it must, the identity you've made physically, emotionally, energetically, and behaviorally undeniable. Next, we will begin tracking that feedback and decode the synchronicities, events, and subtle confirmations that reality is recalibrating around your new identity. You've now collapsed the quantum wave. Your new identity isn't just potential, it's presence. You've anchored it through rituals, behavior, and physical calibration. But how do you know it's really working? The field gives you feedback. And once you learn how to read that feedback, you stop second-guessing your path. You begin to trust what most people call coincidence as intentional confirmation. This chapter is about decoding reality's response to your transformation. Because when identity changes, everything around you shifts to reflect it. It starts subtly, a conversation that feels different, an unexpected opportunity, a message you weren't looking for, an offer you used to dream about showing up without force. This is not random. Your reality is now in a recalibration loop. It is adapting to the new signal you're emitting, but only those who can read that signal get to harness it. Here's how to read the feedback loop clearly. Step 1. Identify micro-reflections. After a major identity shift, most people wait for grand confirmations. But the field starts by adjusting the small stuff. Someone looks at you with new respect, even if they don't say a word. You're invited to speak in a space you used to be excluded from. A random comment mirrors a phrase from your identity ritual. These are echoes, micro-reflections that say, "We heard you." Your job is to acknowledge them. Don't dismiss them as chance. The more you notice, the more frequent they become. Step 2. Track pattern disruptions. Reality feedback also comes through interruption. When an identity no longer fits, certain parts of your life begin to reject it. A job starts feeling unbearable. A relationship turns volatile. A routine that once worked now drains you. People exit abruptly or push harder than usual. This is not failure. This is your old life resisting obsolescence. When your internal frequency rises, anything incompatible becomes unstable. Instead of fearing collapse, recognize it as confirmation. The feedback says, Your old environment can no longer contain you. Step 3. Use serendipity as navigation. You'll begin to notice moments that feel too aligned to be accidental. You think of someone and they message you. You explore a new identity trait and an opportunity appears to express it. You shift your posture and someone compliments your presence. Unprompted. These aren't signs from the universe. They are reflections of resonance. The field is built on frequency matching. When your signal changes, new frequencies enter your orbit. Use these moments as green lights. When serendipity increases, you're on the right track. Step 4. Test your environment. Feedback isn't just received. It can be provoked. You don't have to wait for reality to adjust. You can test it. Speak differently in spaces where you were once silent. Hold your ground with people who expect you to fold. Make a request you would have previously avoided. Watch what happens. Often, the response will surprise you. The resistance you feared doesn't arrive. Or if it does, you handle it with a self you didn't even know you had. This is you retraining reality, teaching it how to respond to your new signal. Step 5. Don't mistake delay for denial. Sometimes the feedback doesn't show up instantly. That doesn't mean your identity shift failed. There's a lag effect between new frequency and external recalibration. Think of it like echolocation. You send out the new signal. Reality receives it, reshapes pathways, reroutes opportunities, and then reflects back. This is where most people abandon the process during the silence. Stay in it. Keep holding the frequency. Keep acting from the new identity. The field always responds, just not always on your timeline. The key is to stay consistent long enough for the reflection to catch up. And here's the turning point. Once you become fluent in feedback, you stop wondering if the shift is real. You start expecting confirmation. And because of that expectation, it arrives faster. You begin hacking reality not by controlling it, but by becoming so internally stable that you stop needing control altogether. You don't react to feedback. You command it, and that makes the shift irreversible. Next, we go deeper, because even with all this transformation, one thing still lingers in the background, the old self's last line of defense. Ego. It's time to meet it, end it, and step beyond it. So far, your transformation has been structural, energetic, and behavioral. You've replaced scripts. You've rewritten code. You've even taught your body to move differently. But one entity has been quietly watching all of this. Commenting, questioning, pushing back when things get too unfamiliar. That entity is ego, and now it's time to confront it head-on. Let's be clear, ego is not arrogance. It's not vanity. It's not confidence. Ego is your identity's security system, the mechanism that protects whatever self you've rehearsed the longest, regardless of how limited it is. Its motto, better the familiar than the free. Ego is built to avoid death. Not physical death, identity death. And so every time you try to expand, express, or evolve, ego activates resistance. That's not who you are. Be careful. This is risky. What will people think? You're doing too much. Slow down. These aren't facts. They're ego defense prompts. Now that your transformation is almost complete, ego will try one final tactic. Panic. You'll feel sudden anxiety before breakthrough. You'll feel the urge to sabotage when you're about to be seen. You'll want to shrink right when expansion is most available. This is ego yelling, "Don't kill me." Here's the truth. Ego is not evil. It was built to protect you when you had fewer tools. It held your identity together when you were surviving. But now it's outdated. So now you thank it and end it. Step 1. Name the ego pattern. What does your ego say most often? Don't speak first. If they're upset, it's your fault. You need to work harder to be valuable. Stay out of the spotlight. Write it down. Then say, "This was true for a past version of me. That version is no longer alive." Step 2. Trigger the pattern on purpose. To dismantle ego, you must expose it. Choose a behavior that always used to make ego flare up. Then do it consciously. Say something bold. Share work you would have hidden. Stand taller than usual. Take up space at the table. When the ego script kicks in, don't run. Watch it. Don't react. Stay present. That's how you disempower it. By proving you can hold frequency even when the voice of fear is screaming. Step 3. Ritualize the ego death. Ego doesn't fade on its own. You must end its authority ceremonially. Write a letter from your ego. Let it speak. Let it say why it's afraid. Then write a response from your conscious self. Thank you for protecting me, but I no longer need fear to lead. Burn the letter. Say the words. I no longer answer to ego. I answer to identity. This is the release moment. You are not killing something. You are retiring it. Step 4. Install the observer self. The ego narrates, judges, reacts, protects. The observer simply witnesses. From now on, train your awareness to observe before reacting, to notice thoughts without fusing with them, to hear emotional impulses without obeying them. This is your true self, the one who chooses identity instead of default, the one who watches the program and rewrites it. You are not the voice of fear. You are the one deciding how loud that voice gets to be. Step 5. Normalize ego absence. The final illusion is that you need ego to survive. You don't. In its absence, you don't disappear, you expand. You speak more clearly. You move more honestly. You connect more deeply. You act more freely. The gap where ego once lived becomes space for conscious authorship. You no longer fear being misunderstood because you understand yourself. You no longer fear being seen because you're no longer hiding. And you no longer confuse protection with power. You've pressed the ego death button. And now the old identity has no one left to defend it. Next, we step into the most uncharted territory of transformation. The void, the space between who you were and who you're becoming, and how to walk through it with clarity, not fear. You've just let go of your ego, the internal defense system that held your previous identity in place. But letting go isn't the final step. Create something else. Space. That space is what most people fear. Not because it's painful, but because it's empty. Welcome to the void. The void is the psychological and energetic space between the death of who you were and the embodiment of who you are becoming. It's the moment where you are no longer that, but not yet this. And if you mistake that space for failure, you'll regress. But if you understand the void, walk it and hold it, you emerge unshakable. Let's be honest. The void feels weird. You feel disoriented. You no longer want the old life, but the new one hasn't fully landed. People don't relate to you the same way. Routines feel off. Passions feel distant. There's silence where there used to be noise. This is not a problem. It's a signal. It means the shift is real. The old operating system has been deleted. The new one is installing, and your system is rebooting. But most people can't tolerate that silence. So they panic and fill the void with busyness, distractions, relationships, habits, or emotional spirals. That's the trap. The moment you fill the void, you reinstall the old identity just to feel something familiar. Instead, here's what you must do. Hold the space. Let the silence stretch. Let the in-between feel strange. Let your nervous system realize nothing is wrong. Because if you can be still in the void, you become unprogrammable by fear. Let's walk it together. Step 1. Name the disorientation without assigning meaning. In the void, thoughts get slippery. Why do I feel so blank? Was this shift even real? Have I lost who I was? These questions don't need answers. They are ego echoes looking for a foothold. You must learn to say, this is what it feels like to be between selves. That single sentence diffuses the panic. Step 2. Stop trying to anchor too soon. The void will tempt you to find new certainty fast. A new relationship, a new project, a new routine, a new identity. But identity built in the void is often reactionary, not aligned. Hold off. Let the clarity come to you. Don't build while disoriented. Wait for the signal. You'll know when you're ready, because the new identity won't feel forced. It will feel inevitable. Step 3. Simplify everything. The void is not a time for complexity. Strip everything down. Speak less. Consume less. Decide less. Be in spaces that require nothing from you. This isn't isolation. It's energetic reset. You are cleansing the system, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Step 4. Anchor to presence, not productivity. You are not here to get things done. You're here to become someone new. Measure your day by presence, not output. Ask, did I remain in my body today? Did I respond slowly instead of reactively? Did I allow myself to feel without performing? These are void victories. Step 5. Mark the exit with ceremony. One day the void will lift. Not dramatically, quietly. You'll wake up and feel clarity again. Your words will come back sharper. A desire will rise that feels authentic, not compensatory. That's the sign. You're emerging. Mark it, right? Speak, move, declare. I have walked the in-between. I held the silence. And now I rise as someone new. That declaration matters. It becomes the psychological line between phases. And here's what you'll realize. The void wasn't a punishment. It was proof. Proof that you could withstand emptiness without collapsing. Proof that your identity was never just activity but presence. Proof that you are now the space, not the structure. And only those who can survive the void without filling it earn the right to build something real on the other side. Next, we claim the power waiting for you on the far side of the void, the moment you stop reacting to life and start creating it from your chosen identity. You've walked through the void. You didn't rush to fill it. You let the old die without resurrecting it. And now something opens. Not a doorway, a role. From this point forward, you are no longer a responder. You are source. This chapter is about shifting from being shaped by life to shaping it. From waiting to be chosen to becoming the one who initiates the choosing. This is your transition from reactor to creator. Let's be honest. Most of the world lives in reaction mode. They wake up reacting to schedules. They scroll through content and react emotionally. They enter conversations reacting to tone, posture, pressure. Even their identity is a reaction to expectations, trauma, or past dynamics. But you've disrupted that loop. And now it's time to build forward from pure choice. Let's build your creator mode protocol. Step 1. Define your current creative field. Every creator has a field, a domain where their identity plays out. Ask, where in my life am I most passive? Where do I wait for approval or clarity instead of acting? Where do I keep fixing instead of building? These are areas of reactive identity where your power is dormant. Now flip the script. If I created this from scratch, what would I choose today? This is the creator prompt, the question that breaks you free from legacy living. Step 2. Create before you consume. The creator identity starts each day by broadcasting, not receiving. Write before you scroll. Speak before you react. Move before you explain. Define your tone before anyone else sets it for you. This is energetic priority. If you don't define the frequency of your day, someone else will. The creator doesn't allow that. Step 3. Build a conscious input filter. Now that you're sourcing identity from within, you must guard your input gate. Ask before engaging with anything. Does this amplify my new identity? Is this content, person, or energy shaping me toward or away from alignment? Creators do not indulge input that dilutes their signal. Unfollow noise. Mute the voices of indecision. Avoid spaces that reward neutrality when you're becoming clear. Step 4. Choose over please. Reactors aim to preserve comfort and connection. Creators aim to preserve congruence. Every day, you'll face choices that require one of two things. Say what's easy. Say what's aligned. Choose aligned. That might mean ending a conversation when it shifts off your frequency. Saying no when people expect yes. Holding silence when you'd normally over-explain. Each of these moments says, I am the source, not the effect. Step 5. Take invisible action. Most action people take is for performance, to be seen, to be validated, to be approved. But the creator self builds in private. Moves without announcing. Acts without proof. Decides without applause. Invisible action is powerful because it tells your system, I don't need confirmation. I am the confirmation. This recalibrates your nervous system to source identity internally, permanently. Step 6. Build without asking for access. The final shift from reactor to creator is this. You no longer wait for permission. You don't wait to be chosen, invited, validated, or endorsed. You build. You speak. You launch. You embody. And because your signal is clean, the field organizes around it. The people you used to chase begin appearing. The offers you used to beg for become inbound. The dynamics you feared start to collapse under their own weight. You didn't chase power. You created it. This is the paradox. The creator does not act louder. The creator acts clearer. With no rush, no tension, no justification. Because once you decide, I am the source, everything else becomes a choice. You are now at a threshold few cross. You're no longer managed by emotion. You're no longer narrating transformation, you are it. You're no longer hoping to be recognized, you recognize yourself. This isn't confidence. This is authorship. You are not reacting to reality. You are building one. Next, we'll give this creative identity a structure. Crafting your quantum self blueprint, a document and energetic signature that encodes everything you've now become. You've stepped fully into creator mode. You're no longer reactive. You've released the old operating system, survived the void, and begun acting as the architect of your identity. Now it's time to structure everything you've built. This chapter is where your new identity becomes more than a feeling. You're going to translate it into language, design, visibility, a document, a blueprint. This is not a worksheet. This is a living signal, an encoded representation of the identity you now operate from. Most people build lives without defining their internal architecture. They hope their behavior speaks clearly. They hope others get it. But you're not hoping anymore. You're choosing, documenting, encoding. Because when your identity is written with precision, the mind focuses, the field sharpens, and decisions stop being guesswork. They become alignment tests. Here's how to build your quantum self blueprint. Step 1. Title the identity. Every blueprint begins with a name. Not your legal name, your identity code name. This name should evoke presence, clarity, and command. Examples: the integrated architect, sovereign frequency, the quiet flame, catalyst mode, the undeniable. This isn't branding. It's psychological imprinting. When you say the name, your system responds. It knows. This is the configuration we're activating today. Write this name at the top of your blueprint. Step 2. Write the behavioral signature. Now clarify, what does this identity do consistently, visibly, and without hesitation? Answer with specifics. Speaks without qualifiers. Leads meetings without emotional buffering. Protects energy in conversations that waste time. Moves slower than urgency allows. Stabilizes space when others collapse. This section is your behavioral contract. It tells your nervous system, this is what alignment looks like in the real world. Keep it sharp, clear, measurable. Step 3. List the non-negotiables. Your identity isn't just about what you do. It's about what you no longer allow. This is where power compounds. List at least 5 behaviors, thoughts, or situations you refuse to tolerate in your new reality. Examples: no explaining my transformation. No engaging with passive aggression. No using self-deprecation as connection. No room for urgency-based decisions. No shrinking when visibility increases. Each non-negotiable is a boundary wall around your new self. They signal to your field, I no longer negotiate with the old code. Step 4. Create the environmental calibration list. Your environment either reinforces identity or erodes it. List what must now be present in your physical and digital spaces to support the new self. Examples: my workspace must signal clarity and presence. My calendar reflects energy-first priorities. My wardrobe aligns with frequency, not trend. My phone is not the first voice I hear in the morning. This list becomes your external reinforcement mechanism. You're no longer tolerating friction between your internal upgrade and external surroundings. Step 5. Write the identity command phrase. Now distill your identity into a command phrase, a single sentence that activates your state, especially under pressure. Examples: I am the one who speaks truth, even when the room shakes. I hold clarity while others grasp for control. I don't speed up for noise. I anchor in presence. I radiate leadership without seeking permission. This line becomes your internal recall code, a way to summon alignment in any moment. Say it often. Say it out loud, especially when doubt whispers or old patterns push. Step 6. Print, post, speak, repeat. Your quantum self blueprint is not just for your journal. It belongs in view. Print it, frame it, post it in your workspace. Speak it each morning. Let it serve as a daily alignment calibration. Because the more your system sees it, the more it accepts it as default. You're not trying to become this person. You are reminding your system who you've already chosen to be. Final note: this blueprint is alive. As you evolve, refine it. Update the behaviors. Replace the command phrases. Delete non-negotiables that no longer apply. Add new ones. Your identity isn't static, but your clarity should be. Now you are no longer vague. You're coded, visible, structured, activated. Next, we take the structure into motion and ritualize it into your daily rhythm so that identity shift becomes not just a decision but a lifestyle loop. You've built the blueprint. Your new self has shape, language, rhythm, and clarity. But structure alone isn't enough. Now we engrave the identity into your system through daily ritual. Rituals are not routines. Routines are mechanical. Rituals are intentional signals, sent from behavior to identity to field. The goal here is to transform your day into a continuous series of identity reinforcements. Not habits for productivity. Rituals for congruence. Let's break the day into windows of influence. Morning, the priming window. The first hour after you wake is when your system is most programmable. Your brain operates in low-frequency brainwaves, ideal for conditioning. You're either installing identity or you're absorbing someone else's. Here's how to prime your system correctly. Silence first. Before consuming anything, sit. Eyes closed. 1 full minute. Let the new identity arise in your mind's eye. Don't narrate. Just allow. Speak your command phrase out loud. With breath. I am the one who Let your body hear it. Identity movement. 1 minute of intentional posture practice. Walk, stand, or stretch as the new you. Single aligned task. Do one task, writing, organizing, recording, that confirms your current identity before the world reaches you. This is not about optimization. It's about frequency stabilization. Midday, the momentum window. By now, the world has tried to pull you into old responses. Distraction, politeness, passive urgency. This is where most people collapse back into the familiar. But you won't because you've trained for this. Insert a ritual pause at the midpoint of your day. 3 deep breaths, each one longer than the last. Posture check. Are you in a body that matches your blueprint? Fix it. Recall code activation. Whisper or write your command phrase. Decision alignment test. Ask, what would the old self do next? What does the current self choose instead? This midday check reclaims your signal. You stop leaking power and start steering again. Evening, the reflection window. Before sleep, your system wants to complete its loop. If you end your day unconsciously, the old code seeps in during rest. Insert a 5-minute ritual that says, we stayed aligned, and we're staying aligned into tomorrow. Options. Identity recap. Today, I embodied my new self by doing gratitude from power. List moments you enforce standards, not just received gifts. Forgiveness reset. Release any self-judgment for moments you slipped. That version of me no longer defines tomorrow. Then, sleep with that energy. Let your subconscious spend the next 8 hours training deeper alignment. Micro-rituals throughout the day. These are invisible reinforcements. No audience, no effort, just frequency maintenance. Examples: when entering a room, pause at the door. Inhale. Remember who you are. Then walk in. When tempted to shrink, touch a physical anchor. A ring, a bracelet, a collar. Before answering any question, delay by 1 second. Just enough time to respond as your new self. When silence falls in conversation, don't fill it. Let your presence hold it. Each of these micro-rituals reaffirms your code, and the cumulative effect is massive. By the end of each day, your system has received dozens of reinforcement signals. You are no longer rehearsing transformation occasionally. You are living it continuously. You stop waiting for results. You stop looking for proof. You become the proof in posture, presence, decisions, and ritual. Let's be very clear. Change doesn't become permanent through declarations. It becomes permanent through repetition of aligned action, executed not as tasks, but as sacred agreements with your future self. You're no longer managing identity manually. You've built an identity machine, and it runs through ritualized repetition. Next, we make your new identity more agile, training you to shift in real time, inside dynamic situations, pressure moments, and identity testing encounters. By now, your identity has structure, clarity, and momentum. You've anchored it into your morning, your movement, your behavior. You've trained it through ritual. But life doesn't always offer stillness or space. You won't always have time to recalibrate. You'll be interrupted, challenged, observed, pushed. And in those moments, identity is no longer a blueprint. It becomes real-time code execution. This chapter is about mastering microshifts, the ability to shift identity on demand, in the moment, in high-speed or high-pressure environments. Not as performance, as congruence. Let's start with this. Identity isn't fixed. It flexes. It adapts. It adjusts based on internal alignment, not external permission. And when you learn to make tiny adjustments at full speed, you become unshakable in dynamic situations. Here's how to make that ability a built-in feature of your operating system. Step 1. Name your context-specific selves. You're not just one person. You're a spectrum. The aligned version of you on stage might look different from the aligned you in a meeting, in conflict, in intimacy, in solitude. You don't want to be consistent. You want to be congruent. Make a short list of situations where your energy shifts: pitching an idea, receiving critique, networking with strangers, speaking to your team, saying no to a friend, walking into a room with tension. Now label the version of you that should show up in each: the architect, the silent flame, the strategic listener, the benevolent force, the unshaken mirror. You're not inventing personas. You're assigning frequency presets so your nervous system doesn't default to the old program in those moments. Step 2. Anchor a 2-second state switch. Train yourself to shift in 2 seconds or less. Use 3 cues. Breath, a deliberate inhale to signal power. Posture, shoulder roll back, spine lengthen. Phrase, a short phrase that activates the role. Examples: command, not react. Silence is strength. Speak with purpose. This creates a reliable, embodied pattern. Over time, your system doesn't wait for permission to shift. It learns to switch immediately when cued. Step 3. Break default identity loops. The old self still has reflexes. It might show up out of habit in new spaces. Interrupt the loop mid-sentence, mid-glance, mid-thought. If you hear your old voice coming out, stop, take a beat, reset. Continue as your chosen self. This doesn't look awkward. It looks intentional. People feel the shift and respond accordingly. Step 4. Speak as if it's already true. Micro-shifts are especially important in conversation. Your words either anchor your identity or erode it. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to," say, "I now operate as," "I'm working on becoming." Say, "This is who I am now." "I hope to." Say, "I've decided that." This is not fake confidence. It's energetic instruction to your field. Every phrase trains others to mirror back your new identity or test it. So stop using language that opens the door for regression. Step 5. Recover quickly, not perfectly. You will slip. A voice will tremble. A gesture will regress. An old habit will sneak through. Don't freeze. Don't spiral. Just say, silently or softly, that was old code. We're not doing that now. Then shift. Midstream. Mid-sentence if needed. People respect presence. But they are magnetized by recovery, because it signals mastery, not perfection. Step 6. Mirror check ritual. Build the habit of using mirrors not to judge appearance but to reinforce identity. Each time you pass one, breathe once. Re-enter your chosen role. Hold your gaze with yourself. Don't adjust your hair. Adjust your frequency. These micro-rituals build deep neural grooves. You're training your system to live the shift, not just rehearse it. And here's the final truth. When micro-shifts become seamless, you stop worrying about losing momentum, because you're not maintaining identity anymore, you're deploying it. With surgical precision. On command. In any room, under any condition. Next, we confront the social effect of this transformation, when those around you no longer recognize the frequency you now embody. You've shifted, fully, and not just internally. It's now visible, in how you move, in how you speak, in what you tolerate, in what you no longer justify, and people are starting to notice. Some don't know how to respond. Some withdraw, some challenge you, some act confused, some try to pull you back. This chapter isn't about managing them. It's about understanding this simple, powerful truth. When people don't recognize you anymore, it means it's working. Let's decode what's happening. Step 1. Understand energetic contracts. Before your shift, every relationship operated on a set of unspoken agreements. You played a role. They played theirs. You were the one who made peace, or held back, or chased validation, or tolerated friction, or remained neutral. And now you've rewritten your role, but they haven't rewritten theirs. So the script starts breaking down. They look confused because the lines they expected no longer appear. They may even provoke, trying to get the old you back on stage. Don't fall for it. This isn't a sign to regress. It's a sign you've exited the old contract. Step 2. Refuse to perform familiarity. People will invite you to play the old role. Jokes that no longer align. Dynamics that once felt like comfort now feel like constraint. Reactions designed to draw out your former self. You are under no obligation to perform familiarity. Let them feel the shift. Let it be uncomfortable. You're not cold. You're congruent. Every time you refuse the old pattern, you confirm the new identity in real time. Step 3. Allow silent disconnection. Some people will leave. Some will go quiet. Some will fade. That's not abandonment. That's energetic reorganization. Your new signal no longer matches theirs, and that's okay. You're not required to shrink to preserve connections. You're required to stay aligned and let the connections reconfigure themselves. Hold space for grief if it rises, but don't mislabel grief as guilt. You're not rejecting them. You're releasing dynamics that depended on your lack of clarity. Step 4. Let respect replace approval. Your old self might have been liked more, but it was also tolerated more. The new you might provoke discomfort, but you'll also evoke respect, polarity, and precision. Stop seeking approval in rooms you've outgrown. Instead, track who adjusts with you, who asks better questions, who reflects your new clarity, who resists, but remains present. That's your new circle taking shape. Step 5. Speak identity, not explanation. Don't explain your shift. If someone says, "You've changed," say, "Yes, that's correct." If they ask why, say, "Alignment required it." You don't owe context for your congruence. You're not asking for permission, you're confirming reality. And those who are ready will adjust. Those who aren't were never built for your next chapter anyway. Step 6. Celebrate the discomfort. You will feel tension. That's good. Tension is the final proof that the transformation has left the internal realm and entered the social. Let it stretch. Let it crack. Let it test. Because after the test comes the alignment echo, when the world starts mirroring your new frequency back without resistance. You don't get that echo if you fold under pressure. Hold your line. Let people misread you. Let them catch up or walk away. This isn't ego. This is energetic hygiene. You are not for everyone anymore, and that's the first sign of clarity, not exclusion. And here's what's on the other side. When you stop trying to be recognizable, you become undeniable. Next, you'll begin to consciously shape your inner circle, not around compatibility, but around frequency alignment, so your new identity is amplified, not diluted. You've now shifted so significantly that others can feel it. Some have pulled away. Some have resisted. Some still don't know how to place you. But now, a new question must be answered. Who belongs in your field going forward? This chapter is not about community for comfort. It's about strategic energetic architecture, building a circle that supports, reinforces, and reflects your upgraded identity. Because identity is never maintained in isolation. It's amplified or eroded by the people around you. Let's build your quantum-aligned inner circle not by accident, but by design. Step 1. Define the frequency standard. Your old circle may have been based on history, humor, or habit. But going forward, the filter must be frequency. That means asking, do I feel more or less like myself after being in their presence? Do I return to my power or leak it? Do they require my dimming, or do they respect my expansion? Your new circle must meet this unspoken rule. We don't lower each other to connect. This standard is not elitism. It's energetic coherence. Step 2. Categorize without condemning. Start by taking stock. Think about the 5 people you interact with most consistently. Who drains you? Who confuses your clarity? Who holds the old version of you hostage through expectation or memory? Who mirrors your new presence without being intimidated by it? Who expands in response to your expansion? Label honestly, not emotionally. This isn't judgment. It's logistical clarity. Not everyone has to be cut off. But not everyone should have access to the inner layer of your frequency field. Step 3. Renegotiate access quietly. You don't need to announce your reconfiguration. You simply begin adjusting access points. Answer less frequently. Speak less emotionally. Share less about your process. Hold boundaries without buffering. You are no longer available for interactions that dilute the identity you've encoded. Some people will notice. Let them. They may adjust, or they may exit. Both outcomes serve your alignment. Step 4. Spot energetic mirrors. Begin consciously identifying those who reflect your new field without confusion, envy, or recoil. You'll know them because they speak without performing. They hold space without rescuing. They celebrate your evolution without needing to compare it to their own. They correct you without shaming you. They hold high standards for you and for themselves. These people don't just reflect you. They expand you. Keep them close. Step 5. Speak a new language. You're building a new tribe. Don't speak the old dialect. Drop sarcasm used to deflect truth. Stop defaulting to self-deprecation to create safety. Release over-explaining in order to avoid misunderstanding. Your new language is built on precision, silence, and congruence. And when someone speaks it back to you, that's not coincidence. That's recognition. Step 6. Hold the standard without forcing others to rise. Your job is not to drag others into alignment. It's to stand in clarity and let the field self-select. Some people will try to match your energy. Some will resent it. Some will evolve in parallel without your intervention. Let all 3 paths exist. Your only responsibility is to not distort your frequency in order to maintain the comfort of a misaligned circle. Remember this, your inner circle is not who you talk to most. It's who holds the sharpest mirror to your current identity. And here's the key. As your identity rises in frequency, the right people begin arriving. Not because you chased them, because you became magnetically legible to those operating on the same level. You're not alone. You're just early. And your field is now calibrated to receive what matches you. Fully. Next, we confront the deepest illusion in your old code, the part that wasn't social, learned, or chosen. the part that was wounded and learned to masquerade as you. You've reprogrammed thought, emotion, behavior, identity, social energy. You've evolved in ways that are rare, real, and radical. But there's still one layer that hasn't been fully exposed. The one running beneath the operating system. The part that's not about belief, or mindset, or intention. The part that's wired into your system as survival. We're talking about trauma. Not the story, not the memory, not the label, but the adaptation, the identity it created. Because for most people, trauma doesn't just wound, it becomes their definition. And until it's exposed, it continues to operate as if it were the real you. Let's reveal it, dismantle it, reclaim the space it once occupied. Step 1. Name the protective persona. Trauma doesn't just cause pain. It teaches the nervous system how to stay alive in unsafe environments. And then, that survival response becomes your personality. Think, the appeaser, the high performer, the invisible one, the skeptic, the funny one, the peacemaker, the over-preparer. These were not chosen. They were installed during formative moments where choice wasn't available. But now you do have choice. So ask, what parts of me feel automatic, but never truly free? That's your first clue. Step 2. Spot the trauma reflexes. These are nervous system-level reactions, not logical thoughts. Examples: laughing when uncomfortable, apologizing before you speak, tensing shoulders when noticed, minimizing achievements, monitoring everyone's mood constantly. These aren't quirks. They're unprocessed protective strategies. Until you see them clearly, they operate as identity. Your goal isn't to shame them. It's to say, I know why you showed up, but I'm safe now. You're allowed to rest. Step 3. Stop managing the ghost code. Trauma tries to stay useful by making itself part of your future. Don't speak up. You know what happened last time. Don't trust them. Remember how that went. Keep working harder. You never know when it'll be taken away. This ghost code haunts your new identity with warnings from a past that no longer exists. Refuse to let it define what's next. Write this statement. Just because that happened doesn't mean this is who I am. It's not denial. It's sovereignty. Step 4. Create new safety scripts. Your nervous system doesn't let go just because you understand something. It needs a new script. Replace trauma reflexes with identity scripts. I am allowed to speak without apology. Noticing danger doesn't mean I live in it. I no longer need to be unseen to stay safe. Excellence doesn't have to be earned through pain. Speak them aloud. In the mirror. In high-trigger spaces. Teach your body that safety is now normal, not earned. Step 5. Forgive the adaptations. You don't need to destroy the protective parts. You need to thank them and retire them. Write to them, you protected me when no one else did. You made me quiet enough to survive. You made me clever enough to adapt. You made me resilient enough to endure. But now I no longer need to survive. I am building a self that doesn't need your armor. You are relieved. Feel that in your bones. You're not abandoning yourself. You're integrating the fragmented parts into something whole. Step 6. Stand without the trauma identity. Now that you've seen it, name the version of you that was born without it. Give that version a phrase, a frequency, posture. Let that self start making decisions. Let that self speak in meetings. Let that self answer questions. Let that self be witnessed. It might feel naked. That's good. It means the armor is gone. And when the armor falls, your real presence begins. Because trauma doesn't make you powerful. Transcending it does. You are not broken. You were brilliant. But now you're free. Next, we shift into healing the core. Not through suppression, but through integration, so your identity is no longer rooted in wound, but in wholeness. You've named the trauma adaptations. You've seen how they disguise themselves as personality. You've thanked them and begun to release them. But naming and retiring aren't enough. The absence of trauma doesn't guarantee the presence of truth. You now need to replace the false code with something real, rooted, and unshakable. This chapter is not about fixing what was broken. It's about restoring what was never actually lost, only buried beneath the survival pattern. Let's now rebuild the core of your identity from truth, not trauma. Step 1. Clarify the original identity signal. Before the wound, before the programming, before the performance. Who were you? You may not remember in detail. That's okay. You're not looking for a name or a career or a personality. You're looking for a frequency. Close your eyes and ask, what did my energy feel like before I learned to defend it? You may feel warmth, lightness, stillness, playfulness, curiosity, command, joy. That's your signal, the core essence. It was never destroyed, only layered over with reaction. Your job now is to restore access to that signal and let it become your new default state. Step 2. Identify the trauma gaps. Each trauma adaptation created a gap, a missing behavior, a blocked impulse, a silenced truth. Examples: a performer forgets how to rest. A people pleaser forgets how to want. A controller forgets how to receive. A high achiever forgets how to be still. Write down what you forgot. Then write down what you can now allow. I forgot how to say no without guilt. Now, I remember that boundaries are an act of truth. I forgot how to trust silence. Now, I remember that presence doesn't need to perform. You're not adding something new. You're restoring what's yours. Step 3. Rewire emotional response patterns. Most trauma-adapted identities have default emotional settings: numbness, hypervigilance, defensive anger, shame, disassociation. These emotions were once useful. Now they are outdated scripts. The upgrade requires a new emotional map. From numb to felt presence. From vigilance to inner peace. From defense to discernment. From shame to self-ownership. From disconnection to embodied reality. This isn't forced positivity. It's emotional remapping. Each time you feel the old emotion rise, say, this was the past. But the signal I'm choosing now is underscore. Then act accordingly. Step 4. Create a truth ritual. Healing is not just awareness. It's ritualized reinforcement of the new identity. Choose a daily truth ritual. Write your restored identity phrase. Move your body as the unarmored self. Speak a truth you would have hidden yesterday. Practice saying yes or no based on truth, not fear. Anchor this practice for 7 straight days. Let your system know. This is who we are now. Step 5. Reverse the narrative loop. Trauma often lives in story. Because they hurt me, I must be. Because that happened, I'm always. I became this way because. Your job is not to erase the past. Your job is to change the narrator. Try this. Original. I had to work harder than everyone else just to be seen. New truth. I now allow my presence to speak louder than my performance. Original. I learned to hide because people couldn't handle the real me. New truth. Now I walk into rooms with nothing hidden and let others recalibrate. Narrative is neuroplasticity. Change your words, change your wiring. Step 6. Decide that wholeness is safe. Your nervous system doesn't just need clarity. It needs permission to remain whole. Say it over and over. It's safe to be visible. It's safe to hold my power. It's safe to not manage everyone else's emotions. It's safe to let go of performance. It's safe to be loved without strategy. These are not affirmations. They are core-level overrides. You're not healing into fragility. You're healing into presence that cannot be shaken. You are not your wound. You are what remains when the wound no longer speaks louder than your essence. Next, we step beyond even your body and enter the dimensional reality of identity, where your signal affects timelines, relationships, and parallel frequencies you didn't even realize were listening. You've done the groundwork. You've rewritten code. You've restored your essence. You've shifted from reaction to creation. But now we go beyond time, beyond story, beyond form, because identity doesn't just influence your behavior. It broadcasts across fields, timelines, and dimensions. This chapter is not metaphor. It's metaphysics. And you're ready. Your identity is a quantum signature, a multidimensional echo of who you are being, believing, and becoming in every moment. When that signal is clean, the field organizes around you. When that signal is distorted, you attract interference, delays, confusion. Let's clean the signal. Let's tune your broadcast. Step 1. Understand identity as frequency. Every belief emits frequency. Every emotion broadcasts resonance. Every posture shapes waveform. You are a signal tower, sending out identity in all directions, across all versions of your life. And everything that comes back to you, relationships, events, patterns, is resonating with your broadcast. So if chaos returns, confusion lingers, or patterns repeat, that's feedback, not failure. Field data. Step 2. Locate your distorted broadcasts. Where are you still broadcasting a frequency that doesn't match your chosen identity? Look for clues in your environment. Recurring miscommunications, financial resistance, energetic drains in certain people or places, tech glitches, weird delays, patterns that repeat. These aren't accidents. They're echoes of distortion. Now ask, what part of me is still signaling the old code? Find it, acknowledge it, then shift it behaviorally and energetically. Step 3. Code your broadcast phrase. You need a phrase that contains your clean signal, one that tells the field who you are across time and space. Examples: I am pure frequency of congruence. I walk timelines only aligned with truth. All versions of me broadcast clarity, command, and coherence. My signal is received clearly, instantly, and only by aligned frequencies. Say it daily. Write it often. Let your system feel it as reality, not imagination. Because what you speak into the field reorganizes around. Step 4. Audit parallel identities. Quantum identity doesn't exist in isolation. You have versions of you in thought, in memory, in other people's minds, in digital footprints. Ask, where am I still active in a version of self I've already outgrown? That might mean social media behavior that contradicts your current truth. Old conversations still playing in others' minds. A digital presence that broadcasts confusion. You don't need to erase the past. You need to signal clearly who you are now. Update the language. Update your tone. Withdraw energy from where your old self is still active. Your frequency belongs to the current version, not the ghost of who you were. Step 5. Align the field through choice. Every decision you make, no matter how small, is a frequency lock. How you end a text, start a meeting, respond to discomfort, enter a room, choose your clothes, say your name. Each moment is a micro-broadcast. Stop underestimating these moments. Start treating them as signals the field will respond to. Because once you act consistently from a clear signal, life stops sending confusion. Step 6. Call back fragmented energy. You've left versions of yourself in rooms you no longer belong in relationships that expired, in timelines that collapsed, in loops that served a lesser version of you. It's time to call it all back. Say, I call back all fragments of me from timelines that no longer serve. I reclaim all energy I gave away in fear, performance, or confusion. Only the congruent remains. Then breathe, and allow the signal to consolidate. You'll feel it. Clarity, stillness, strength. A kind of quiet that doesn't ask for confirmation because it knows. You are no longer broadcasting noise. You're broadcasting truth, clean, dimensional, and undeniable. And as that signal sharpens, time bends, people recalibrate, and entire fields realign around your new frequency. You are no longer in one place. You are present across dimensions as the anchor point of coherence. Next, we integrate this signal into how you move through physical space, becoming someone whose energy commands the room before a word is spoken. Your signal is now clean. It's no longer broadcasting confusion, survival, or contradiction. But there's one more integration needed. That signal must now take form, through presence, through posture, through the subtle energy that enters every room before your voice does. This chapter is about energetic integrity. the congruence between your inner truth and your outer transmission. Because when your energy and your identity are fully aligned, people respond to you without knowing why. They feel it. They listen differently. They recalibrate just by standing near you, not because you perform power, but because you hold frequency without needing validation. Step 1. Audit your entering energy. Every time you walk into a space, digital or physical, you're already sending data. People are reading your breath rhythm, eye contact, posture fluidity, micro movements, subverbal cues. Ask yourself, do I enter the space as the broadcast of my blueprint, or as the echo of past settings? If your body language hesitates, if your eyes dart for approval, if your breath speeds up, the room feels it before you speak. Now retrain your entry. Before you walk in, breathe once, deeply. Recall your identity command phrase. Lead with stillness, not urgency. Let the room receive your frequency before it receives your words. Step 2. Speak without seeking. Energetic integrity breaks the second you try to achieve an outcome through language. Your tone becomes shaped by reaction. Your presence becomes conditional. Your energy leaks. From now on, speak with zero attachment to effect. You speak because it's aligned, because it's true, because your energy has something to confirm. Whether it's accepted, rejected, or misunderstood, your broadcast doesn't shift. That's how the room learns. This energy doesn't wobble. It calibrates. Step 3. Match posture to presence. Your posture is an unconscious declaration of self. Slouched shoulders equals I am not ready to be seen. Tension in limbs equals I'm protecting myself from impact. Feet shifting equals I don't yet claim this space. Train your body to match your identity. Start with the spine. Not rigid. Not collapsed. Neutral. Open. Still. Next, your hands. Unclenched. Unhidden. Uncrossed. Then your breath. Grounded. Even. Minimal effort. You are not signaling threat. You are not performing confidence. You are occupying congruence, physically. Step 4. Don't outsource the vibe. A common trap. Waiting for the room to feel right before you feel whole. You scan for faces. You wait to see how they react. You shift based on reception. Stop. Energetic integrity means, I bring the temperature. I don't wait to match it. Your field sets the tone, regardless of who else is present. Whether it's a boardroom, a date, a stage, or a hallway, you do not negotiate identity with the energy of the room. You lead, even in silence. Step 5. Release preemptive apologies. Every apology that precedes expression is an energetic leak. I know this might sound weird, but this is probably silly, but I'm not sure I'm making sense. But all of these are coded disclaimers. You're telling the field, I'm not fully confident in this transmission. Rewire that. Speak plainly. Claim clarity. Let pauses land. Let silence follow your words. This isn't ego. It's resonant broadcasting. Step 6. Hold frequency under pressure. The final test of energetic integrity is in turbulence. When the room gets reactive. When people push back. When silence stretches too long. When someone questions your change. Your job is not to defend the signal. Your job is to hold it. Say less. Stand still. Repeat your truth. Not louder, but deeper. Let people adjust or not. You're not here to prove the shift. You're here to live it. And here's what happens when you reach this level of energetic congruence. People begin describing you differently. There's something different about you. I feel calmer around you. I can't quite put my finger on it, but you carry something new. You don't seem fazed by anything. That's not mystery. That's undeniable frequency clarity. You are now presence, not performance. You're not adapting to energy. You are transmitting it. And the world, slowly, unavoidably, will begin adjusting to match you. Next, we lock this alignment into permanence by mastering the principle of quantum consistency so the shift becomes irreversible. You've rewritten your identity. You've aligned your energy. You've trained your system to respond, transmit, and hold in full congruence. But now comes the moment every high-level shift demands. Can you stay here when no one's watching, when it gets inconvenient, and when regression whispers comfort? This chapter is about locking in the change at the quantum level, so slipping back doesn't just feel wrong. It becomes impossible. We're not talking about discipline. We're talking about consistency as a frequency setting. Let's install that now. Step 1. Define the cost of regression. You won't stay consistent by inspiration alone. You stay consistent when inconsistency becomes unthinkable. So answer this. What would I lose if I returned to my old self? Not hypothetically, literally. Energy, self-respect, alignment, visibility, momentum, time. Write down the cost. Feel it. Let your nervous system associate regression with violation, not relief. Step 2. Shift from trying to being. When you say, I'm trying to be this version of me, you're already assuming inconsistency is inevitable. Stop trying. Say, this is who I am now. I operate from this state daily. This is my base frequency. Trying is transitional. Being is baseline. Lock into being. Step 3. Create a collapse-proof identity loop. Inconsistency happens when life gets messy. Stress hits. Fatigue returns. A trigger fires. So build an identity loop that doesn't break when you're tired. Here's how. Create one physical anchor, e.g., touch your collarbone, wear a ring. Create one sentence anchor, e.g., even now, I remain who I've chosen to be. Create one breath pattern, 3-count inhale, 3-count hold, 6-count release. Use all 3 together when you feel yourself slipping. Train your system to return to baseline automatically. Step 4. Install consistency rituals during chaos. You don't need a perfect day to be consistent. You need a non-negotiable core that functions even during storms. Pick 3 micro-rituals you can do anywhere. Speak your command phrase before responding. Ground your feet before walking into a tense space. End the day by reaffirming your identity, even if only in a whisper. These keep your system in alignment, even in upheaval. Chaos no longer breaks you. It reveals your resilient signal. Step 5. Collapse identity drift loops. Sometimes inconsistency isn't explosive. It's subtle. You slowly stop speaking up. You adjust tone to avoid tension. You delay alignment moves. These are drift loops. The fix is simple. Daily identity calibration. Ask yourself every night, did I act as the chosen me or the remembered me? If drift occurred, identify it. Say it aloud. Recommit by speaking your identity phrase aloud before bed. Catch the drift before it becomes the default. Step 6. Build your irrevocable standard. Quantum consistency is not never slipping. It's this, even if I slip, I return to center fast, and my core never forgets who I am. You need a standard that cannot be revoked, even under pressure. Write yours like this. No matter the mood, the audience, or the result, I speak truth. I never abandon myself to maintain connection. Even if no one recognizes me, I recognize me. My identity is not fragile. It's final. Say it. Live it. Let it become your operating law. And here's the shift. You stop being in transformation. You become someone who transforms others simply by being who you are. Not through effort, through consistency of field. People feel it. Opportunities respond to it. Reality begins to reorganize around it. You no longer hope to stay this version. You are this version until the next upgrade demands emergence. And when that day comes, you won't regress. You'll evolve again, because that's who you've become now. Not someone trying to hold the change, but someone who is made of it. Next, we shift your entire external life into congruence, building your legacy, lifestyle, and systems around the quantum self that now leads everything you do. You've built an identity powerful enough to walk into any room and be known before you speak. But now something subtler invites you. It's not an upgrade. It's not a role. It's the state that remains when identity becomes optional. This chapter is about becoming pure presence. where who you are is no longer a concept, a blueprint, or a performance. It's a field. Let's explore what it means to move beyond personality and live as the signal itself. Step 1. Release the role of self. Personality is helpful until it becomes a mask. Even the quantum self, if held too tightly, can become armor. You're not here to destroy identity. You're here to use it when necessary and let it go when it's not. Ask, do I know how to rest as pure presence without the need to be someone? That is freedom, not from life, but from needing to be anything inside it. Step 2. Practice identity silence. This practice is simple but powerful. Sit, eyes open, no affirmation, no scripting, no mental narration. Just sit. Let the body breathe. Let the eyes rest. Don't be the new you. Don't be the transformed one. Don't be the teacher, leader, healer, builder. Just be. Let the silence reveal what exists beneath all names. This stillness is not emptiness. It is the full signal, unfiltered. Step 3. Learn to speak from field, not persona. Next time you speak, try this. Before answering a question or contributing in a group, pause for one full breath. Then ask, am I speaking to be seen, or am I letting the field express something real? When you speak from field, your voice slows, your tone deepens, your words carry no tension. There is no subtle request underneath them. That is pure presence in motion. Not managed, not planned, just real. Step 4. Dissolve the observer-observed split. Most people live like this. I am over here, watching myself behave over there. This internal split creates judgment, doubt, and disconnection. Pure presence means there is no split. The one observing and the one expressing are the same. No more checking how you're being perceived. No more narrating your experience while having it. No more multitasking identity. You are whole. All systems unified. That's coherence. And in coherence, personality softens. What remains is signal without filter. Step 5. Stop narrating your beingness. Even inner self-talk can become a cage. I'm doing this well. I should feel grateful now. This moment is so aligned. Look how present I am. All narration introduces separation between you and the moment. Stop talking to yourself about yourself. Just be. Let the moment happen without the commentary. That's where the depth of presence reveals itself. Not as an idea, but as a state that speaks louder than identity ever could. Step 6. Let your energy lead the interaction. When you've moved beyond personality, you no longer need to impress, explain, or validate. You walk into rooms and let your beingness handle the introduction. People will feel safety without you proving it, depth without you dramatizing it, clarity without you describing it, power without you asserting it. That's not magic. That's clean signal without personality performance. Presence doesn't need applause. Presence doesn't chase confirmation. Presence is its own confirmation. And here's the truth most never access. Once you experience the state beneath personality, you realize identity was never the goal. It was only the gateway, a beautiful structure, powerful frame, that eventually fades, so you can stand in nothing but being. No mask, no language, no role, just pure presence. Next, you'll move into observer mode, living not just as energy, but as awareness itself, the intelligence behind the identity, guiding all of reality from silence. You're no longer wondering who you are. You've stopped hoping to stay consistent. Your energy is aligned. Your presence is felt. Your identity no longer asks permission to exist. But now a new responsibility rises. If this identity is real, if it is the foundation now, then your life must be rebuilt around it. This is the moment where transformation exits theory and enters legacy, where your internal congruence becomes external infrastructure, where your time, your space, your work, your money, your decisions all begin to reflect who you've become. This chapter is about conscious life design, so that your quantum self isn't just embodied in a room, it's encoded into your world. Step 1. Define the quantum lifestyle standard. Ask yourself, if I were only allowed to make decisions that matched my new identity, what would I immediately change? Where would I no longer spend time? Who would I no longer tolerate emotionally incongruent conversations with? What environments would no longer be acceptable? What types of work, noise, urgency, or pace would I release? These are not upgrades. These are requirements. Because identity isn't real if the world you move through contradicts it daily. You're not chasing lifestyle for ego. You're removing friction from congruence. Step 2. Architect your aligned work stream. Now ask, what does my identity want to build, express, or lead through the work I touch? If your current work doesn't match the energy you now hold, you will burn out or dull your signal to survive it. Instead of, what do I want to do? Ask, what wants to move through me now that I am this version of me? Let your quantum self answer. Then ask, what kind of output matches my signal? What kind of team, collaborators, clients align with my frequency? What kind of mission, message, and container would reflect my new blueprint? You're not pivoting. You're realigning. Step 3. Audit time like it's sacred. Your calendar either reflects power or dissonance. If your weeks are filled with things the current you would never choose, you're telling your nervous system, we say we've shifted, but we still serve the old program. So now rebuild. Remove meetings that don't match your signal. Batch output to protect energetic flow. Insert non-negotiable quantum time, even 15 minutes a day, to reset the frequency. Your calendar is a mirror of your identity. Make sure it reflects back truth. Step 4. Build legacy architecture. Legacy isn't fame. It's the ongoing expression of identity through structure that outlives your mood, fatigue, or phase. You build legacy by creating containers that function without you, teaching from your identity, not just your ideas, systemizing your values into how you hire, choose, create, speak, post, plan. When people encounter your work, they should be encountering your field, not just your knowledge. That's legacy. Step 5. Align relationships to identity, not loyalty. Your friendships, collaborations, and partnerships must now be filtered through identity. Loyalty to old dynamics will fracture your new reality. You're not cutting people off. You're calibrating proximity. Ask, do they honor my new identity, not just tolerate it? Can they meet me here without needing me to descend? If the answer is no, shift the axis. Not from coldness, but from clarity. Because your field must be protected if it's going to expand. Step 6. Let the world catch up to the self you've become. Once your identity is rooted in the material, the world may take a moment to respond. Opportunities may pause. People may hesitate. Feedback may get quiet. Don't confuse that with failure. That's the field calibrating. Your job isn't to rush validation. Your job is to hold the signal long enough for reality to mirror back the world that matches you. Let the noise fade. Let the old fade. Let the waiting room stretch. Because what's building now isn't just a life. It's a legacy ecosystem built around your most aligned self. Next, we release even the personality you've worked so hard to build and access the state beyond self, pure presence beyond identity. You've done the work of identity. You've rewritten the code, reclaimed the signal, built a life around it. Then you stepped beyond identity, into presence, into stillness. Now, there is only one thing left to become, the one who watches all of it, without attachment, without effort, without story. This chapter isn't about being someone new. It's about becoming the observer, the field of awareness itself. The one who sees thoughts come and go. The one who notices reactions before they fire. The one who is, but is not the body, not the history, not the emotion, not even the name. Let's go there now, to the place where nothing needs to be said to be known. Where nothing needs to be done to be real. Where you become the calm behind the current. Step 1. Recognize the constant behind the change. Your thoughts have changed. Your habits have changed. Your identity, beliefs, energy all have transformed. And yet, one part of you has remained still. It has watched. It watched your old self rise and fall. It watched breakthroughs, doubts, upgrades, releases. That watcher, is you, not the you who plays roles. The one who observes the roles being played. You don't have to find it. You've always been it. Just notice. Step 2. Practice pure noticing. Begin your day with 5 minutes of this. Just watch. Don't adjust the thought. Don't fix the posture. Don't guide the breath. Let everything be. Notice the noticing. A thought comes. I should be doing more. You don't argue. You simply observe. There is a thought about doing. That's it. You are not the thought. You are the awareness that sees the thought. And the more you live from there, the less reality controls you because you aren't inside the drama anymore. Step 3. Refuse to personalize the moment. The ego says, this is happening to me. The observer says, this is what's unfolding. Try it next time there's tension. Don't say, why is this happening to me? Say, this is what life is showing right now. Watch how quickly peace returns. Because when you're not inside the movie, you're free to witness the beauty of the frame. Step 4. Speak as the witness, not the character. You can still express emotions, dreams, desires. But now speak from awareness, not identification. Instead of, I'm angry, say, there is anger moving through the system. Instead of, I'm overwhelmed, say, the field is processing intensity. This isn't detachment. This precision. You are still present, but no longer possessed by the passing weather of the mind. You hold the sky. The clouds are just visitors. Step 5. Allow stillness to speak first. Before you act, pause. Not to strategize, but to return to the seat of the observer. From that stillness, ask, what's real right now? What requires no defense? What choice emerges without pressure? The more you ask from stillness, the more life organizes around clarity. Not urgency, not fear, not compulsion. The observer doesn't need to guess. It sees, it knows, and knowing leads to clean movement. Step 6. Let identity become a tool, not a truth. You now understand something most never reach. Identity is not who you are. It's what you use. Like clothing. You wear it. You remove it. You adapt it. But you never mistake it for the self. The real you doesn't need a name, doesn't crave validation, doesn't attach to the outcome. It witnesses. It breathes. It remains. And from that place you can play any role, without forgetting that you are not the role. And this is where infinity begins. When you no longer need to be someone, you can be anything. Next, we enter the realm of identity shapeshifting. Now that you know you are the field, not the form, you'll learn to become anyone, anytime with mastery. You've reached the end of fixed identity. You've remembered that you're not the pattern, you're the possibility. You're not the history, you're the horizon. And now you're ready for something extraordinary, shape-shifting. This chapter is about activating the superpower of conscious identity shifting, not as a performance but as an expansion. Because once you know the truth that identity is a tool, you can choose who to be, when, and how, with absolute integrity and zero effort. Let's unlock your ability to change roles, frequencies, and forms without losing the self behind them. Step 1. Reframe identity as access. Stop thinking of identity as who I am. Start seeing identity as what frequency I am granting myself access to right now. You are not your job. You are not your habits. You are not your strengths. You are the conscious operator of frequency settings. From that place, ask, what version of me best serves this moment? What role unlocks the most clarity right now? Then step into it, not by faking it, but by letting it run as the dominant signal. Step 2. Build an identity palette. You have many faces, and all of them are real if they're chosen consciously. Start creating your identity palette. Examples: the architect, strategy, vision, silence; the flame, passion, movement, inspiration; the mirror, stillness, clarity, reflection; the storm, disruption, transformation, force; the vessel, softness, listening, healing. Each version of you carries a code. Name them, Design their posture, their speech pattern, their pace. Then, start using them intentionally. This is not fragmentation, the sovereign expression. Step 3. Anchor identity with command phrases. Every version of you should have a command phrase, a signal to your field. Examples. Now I lead with precision. I channel silence and clarity. The healer has entered. I speak as flame now. Let the storm move through me. Use these phrases before a task, a conversation, a transition. Let your system shift into role consciously, cleanly, completely. Step 4. Use environment as a frequency portal. Environments are not passive. They respond to identity and they reinforce it. So design your spaces to match the self you want activated. Your workspace might hold objects that reflect your visionary self. Your meditation space might anchor the vessel. Your speaking setup might amplify the storm. Let every object, every layout, every color support the shift. You're not decorating. You're coating the field with meaning. Step 5. Shift without friction. One of the great powers of shapeshifting is fluidity without fragmentation. This is not performance. This is precision. You move from conflict to collaboration, stillness to fire, logic to intuition, with zero loss of self. Because you're not the form. You're the awareness behind the form, choosing which frequency to wear like armor or silk. This is energetic elegance. And it feels like freedom. Step 6. Choose your tomorrow consciously. Each night before sleep, ask, what version of me will serve most powerfully tomorrow? What identity will unlock the most aligned opportunities, conversations, and clarity? What version of me wants to be seen next? Then write it down. Name it. Feel it. Let your field prepare while you rest. Because when you wake, you're not figuring out how to show up. You've already chosen the signal, and life will respond. Here's the truth. You're not limited to one self. You're a library of archetypes, expressions, frequencies. You are the operator, the selector, the signaler. And now, you no longer shift identity to escape the past. You shift identity to shape the future. Next, you'll learn how to go mythic, designing a signature identity so powerful, it becomes your legend. You've mastered the shapeshift. You've proven that identity isn't fixed. It's chosen. It's channeled. It's wielded. Now it's time to design the archetype, the one version of you so potent, so aligned, so legendary in frequency, that the world feels it long after you leave the room. This chapter is about going mythic. Because while shapeshifting gives you flexibility, mythic identity gives you gravity. It's the self that carries your values, your essence, and your signal across time. It's the story you live so powerfully, others tell it for you. Let's build that archetype now, not for status, but for symbolic congruence. Step 1. Identify the core frequency you refuse to compromise. Every mythic being is known for a frequency that cannot be diluted. Zeus equals power. Athena equals strategy. Hermes equals messenger. Odin equals knowledge. Kali equals destruction plus rebirth. Now what's the one energetic principle you will never trade to feel safe? It might be unshakable truth, inner fire, devotion to clarity, healing through presence, disruption for expansion. Name it, because this becomes the core pillar of your archetype. Step 2. Design the signature style of energy. Every myth isn't just what the figure does, it's how they move. Start building the aesthetic of your archetype. How do they walk into spaces? What does silence feel like when they choose not to speak? How do they dress, speak, pause, exit? What posture holds their command? What gesture ends the conversation? This is not about ego. It's about symbolic calibration. When someone witnesses this version of you, they know who just arrived. Your presence becomes legible, rememberable, iconic. Step 3. Assign meaning to every choice. Mythic identity means your world is alive with symbolism. You don't wear black because it's a color. You wear black because it says, I do not explain, I reveal. You don't end emails with warm regards because it's polite. You end with a phrase that carries your energy signature. You don't create content because the algorithm demands it. You speak because the message must be heard, and it carries your code. From this point forward, everything you do becomes a message from your archetype. Step 4. Live as a frequency, not a personality. Personality is dynamic, useful, temporary. But archetype is eternal principle wearing human form. You're no longer here to be liked. You're here to be legible to those vibrating at your level. Let your frequency speak louder than your personal details. People should feel, this is the one who brings structure to chaos. This is the one who carries compassion without weakness. This is the one who names the truth when no one else will. Your goal is not to impress. Your goal is to become a living metaphor. Step 5. Use naming as activation. Name your archetype. Not a cute nickname. Not a persona. A title. A declaration. Examples: the architect of alignment. The flame that walks. The sovereign mirror. The liberated law. The silent catalyst. Speak your name before important events. Speak it when you forget. Speak it when the world asks you to return to the small self. Let your own voice become the summoning of the myth. Step 6. Embed the archetype into the field. You've built the self. Now let others experience it without explanation. This happens when your content reflects the myth. Your spaces mirror your tone. Your body language confirms your legend. Your responses stay inside your chosen archetype, even under pressure. People don't need your resume. They feel your archetype. And the world starts responding accordingly. Because your legend has entered the frequency field. And the signal is undeniable. This isn't a costume. It's the outer form of your inner truth. Your myth lives now. Next, we step into the deepest recognition yet. You have not been rebranded, you have been reborn. For weeks now, perhaps months, you've been shifting. Not adjusting. Not tweaking. Not upgrading. Shifting. Entirely. The one who began this journey, who thought they were just going to improve their mindset, has been dissolved. What's left isn't a better version. It's a different being. This chapter is the acknowledgement of that. Not a reflection. Not a summary. But a direct declaration. I have not rebranded my image. I have been reborn in structure, signal, and substance. Let's name what that really means so you can own the rebirth. Step 1. Confirm the death of the old code. There is no new beginning without a clean ending. And by now, the old you is not just outdated, it's offline. The one who doubted their presence, gone. The one who needed external clarity, silent. The one who morphed to be accepted, obsolete. You are not standing next to the old identity. You're standing on the ashes of it. So pause, not to mourn, but to declare, I honor the version of me that survived, but I no longer walk in their name. Step 2. Mark the rebirth moment consciously. Your system needs ritual. It needs anchor points to remember. This is where we changed forever. Choose a rebirth ritual. A cold plunge to signal new temperature. A handwritten letter to the old self, then burned. A spoken audio note titled Reborn that you keep forever. A new piece of clothing, worn only by the true version of you. Let it be real. Let it be specific. Let your nervous system remember, this was not a phase. This was a rebirth. Step 3. Install a no-return policy. Rebirth doesn't work if you keep leaving the new you for the familiar. Write this rule. I never betray the real me to maintain a fake peace. No emotion, request, or memory is allowed to override who I am now. Regression is not identity. It is noise. And I no longer listen to noise. This is not strictness. This is structural clarity. It tells your mind and body, this version is permanent. Period. Step 4. Stop explaining the shift. People will notice. They'll ask, what changed? They might even say, you're different. Don't over-explain. Don't justify. Don't shrink the shift to make it digestible. Say this, yes, I am different. I've returned to the version of me that was always here, beneath the noise. That's all. Let people reorient. You're not reintroducing yourself. You're letting them relearn who you've become. Step 5. Build from the reborn baseline. Now that rebirth is real, your life can't look the same. Your morning must match your new signal. Your decisions must carry your archetype. Your boundaries must be spoken from command, not compromise. Your creative work must emerge from truth, not performance. This is your 0 point. Every structure from here forward is built from the blueprint of who you are now. No exceptions. No residue. Step 6. Anchor the identity in the body. It's not enough to say, I've changed. Your body must know it. So begin moving like the reborn self. Walk slower or faster based on your archetype. Make eye contact longer, not to dominate but to anchor. Adjust your breath. Shift how you hold your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. Let every movement confirm. This is not who I'm acting as. This is who I am. You are not in costume. You are not borrowing clarity. You are not testing alignment. You are born again into your own frequency. Full, rooted, unshakable. And this time, you're not asking if it's real. It's real. It's done. It's you. Next, we walk through the ruins of your old life. Not to grieve, but to say goodbye with reverence and never return. The work is done. The code is rewritten. The body has changed. The energy has changed. The decisions are different. You no longer speak, walk, or move like the person you once were. But still, there may be echoes. Moments where the old self whispers from a distance. Old environments trying to pull you back into expired dynamics. Memories attempting to masquerade as truth. This chapter is your final walk through the ruins of the old life. Not to mourn, not to fix, but to witness and release so you can leave without residue. Let's walk through the ghost town and close the gates behind you. Step 1. Visit the echoes without re-engaging. There will be places, people, and patterns that still remember the older version of you. They may speak to you as if you haven't changed. They may test your boundary. They may invite you to play a game you've outgrown. In those moments, do this. Pause. Say to yourself, this is a ghost. It looks real, but it belongs to a version of me that no longer exists. You are not here to fix the past. You are here to walk through it like a museum. Observe. Nod. Leave. Step 2. Let go of the maybe one day attachments. One of the most subtle traps is the idea that you might go back to something familiar later. That job, that friend group, that city, that dynamic, that habit, that way of being that once felt safe. Ask yourself, is any part of me holding onto this as a backup? Then cut the cord. Not because it was bad, but because you're not that version anymore. You don't need to burn bridges in anger. Just stop building future plans in expired landscapes. Step 3. Speak closure to the past. Closure doesn't happen on its own. You speak it into existence. Choose one of these lines and say it out loud. I release the version of me who thought that was home. I honor what I used to need, but I don't serve those needs anymore. I see the memory, but I do not return to it. Thank you for who I was. I choose who I am now. Say it with presence. Say it with command. Say it until your system believes you. This is not a goodbye out of pain. It's a completion made in truth. Step 4. Don't wait for the old world to understand you. You've shifted. You've grown. You've arrived. But not everyone will come with you. Some will never understand. Some will mislabel you. Some will miss the old version because it made them feel comfortable. That's not your problem. That's not your cue to shrink. That's not your invitation to prove. Say this: understanding is optional. Alignment is required. You don't need applause from the ghost town. You only need congruence with the new you. Step 5. Turn regret into ritual. If regrets arise, things you wish you had done differently, don't ignore them. Transmute them. Take every regret and ask, what lesson lives here? And how will I embody it so it becomes legacy instead of weight? Then ritualize it. Create art from it. Write one sentence of wisdom. Speak a vow. Never again will I... That's how you turn pain into practice. Regret becomes reverence, and the past becomes a teacher, not a trap. Step 6. Close the door gently but completely. Some part of you might be tempted to leave the door cracked open. Just in case I miss it. Maybe I'll need that later. It wasn't all bad. But the truth is this. Growth requires finality. This isn't abandonment. It's evolution. Say it. This part of my life is complete. I don't run from it. I also don't live in it. Close the door gently, with love, with gratitude, and with no intention of returning. Your old life is now a museum. You can visit if you ever need to remember where you came from, but you don't live there anymore. And soon, even the museum will fade, because your presence is building something so alive. The past simply dissolves. Next, you step into the highest truth of all. You are the programmer, the code, and the output all at once. This is the moment the identity shift becomes self-generating. You're no longer just someone who changed. You're now someone who can create, command, and rewire reality, intentionally, repeatedly, and precisely. This chapter is about claiming your final form. You are the programmer, the one who writes the new code. You are the code, the living field of instructions, scripts, and responses. And you are the output, the visible manifestation of that truth in motion. Let's install this now. So your identity isn't just complete, it's self-replicating. Step 1. Own that you write the rules now. Before, you followed old rules. People like me don't do that. This is how the world works. I can't be both powerful and soft. I need proof before I act. Others decide what's realistic. Now you say, none of that is law unless I say it is. The programmer writes the parameters. If you say, I'm always supported. My voice is currency. I magnetize aligned people. Reality rearranges for my clarity. Then that becomes your new operating code. And reality begins executing your logic. Step 2. Refine the code daily. You are not static. Each day brings new clarity. Each moment reveals what needs updating. So ask daily, is my current behavior running a past script? If yes, update the line. Examples. Old code. If I'm quiet, I won't be heard. New code. My silence amplifies my gravity. Old code. I need to explain to be accepted. New code. I express with clarity and let energy sort itself. Treat your mind like software. Treat your body like hardware. Treat your words like executable code. And reality? It becomes your running program. Step 3. Watch reality for feedback, not validation. You're the programmer, but your results are the feedback log. Did that interaction glitch? Did that opportunity stall? Did someone react oddly? Great. That's your field giving you debug information. Ask, what part of my current output needs refining? Then rewrite. Don't collapse. Don't dramatize. Just adjust. You're not failing. You're fine-tuning. This is sovereign identity engineering. Step 4. Build rituals that reinforce the new code. A strong identity runs on strong repetition. Design rituals that confirm your new code. Speak your core command phrase while walking. Breathe a specific rhythm before every major action. Use symbolic objects as anchor points in your space. Assign meaning to daily actions. This coffee is an act of creation. This silence is a reset. Every ritual is a code confirmation. Each time you run it, your identity becomes more stable, and the output becomes more precise. Step 5. Let your body be the broadcast. At this stage, words become optional. You no longer need to declare the shift. You walk it. You breathe it. You radiate it. Your body becomes the physical expression of the code. That means eye contact that reflects self-certainty. Posture that says, I'm not waiting to belong. I already do. Breathing that doesn't speed up under pressure. Stillness that doesn't need to be defended. People won't ask, who is this? They'll feel the answer before they speak. Step 6. Code new realities in advance. The true power of the programmer? They don't wait for feedback to respond. They initiate new worlds. Ask, What is the next evolution of my life? What code must I install now so that it's inevitable? Then install it. I now move as a global leader. I now create systems that function without me. I now receive compensation at the level of my clarity. I now become the nexus of transformation in every room I enter. Say it, mean it, live it, then watch the output adjust to match the code. You're not hoping for alignment. You're generating it. You're not reacting to reality. You're scripting it. And the only limit now is how far you're willing to go. You are no longer just human. You are the intelligence behind your human. You are the programmer, the code, and the output. And from here, creation is no longer effort. It's your nature. Next, we arrive at the final portal. The shift is not the end. It's the beginning. And now that you've become infinite, the question is, what will you create next? You made it, not just to the end of a process, but to the edge of something timeless. Everything that came before this, the rewiring of self, the breaking of inner limits, the stepping into frequency, presence, and code, it wasn't a finish line. It was a threshold, a doorway, portal, one that leads into the uncharted. This final chapter is not a summary. It's an activation. You are not here to reflect. You are here to realize. You are not what you changed into. You are what comes through next. Let's open that portal now. Step 1. Understand the nature of portals. Portal is not a door you walk through once. It's a permanent distortion in the fabric of your past self. It never fully closes. It never lets you go back. It doesn't negotiate with nostalgia. You walked through it the moment your inner world stopped being shaped by fear, memory, or survival. You felt it. There was a silence, clarity, a strange stillness you couldn't describe. That wasn't confusion. That was infinity cracking open. Portals aren't places. They are frequency thresholds. And you crossed one, which means the version of reality available to you now isn't based on history. It's based on what you're willing to become. Step 2. Let the identity go completely. This may feel strange after spending hours, weeks, maybe years building it. But here's the final truth. Even the identity you've just constructed, the most potent, clean, aligned version yet, is not the final form. It was the bridge. It was the training wheel. It was the seed of self-mastery. Now release it, not to lose it, but to become something larger than it. From this point forward, you don't become someone. You transmit possibility. You are no longer a character. You are the portal for creation. Step 3. See your life as an extension of the field. Every conversation is now an emanation. Every relationship, an echo of your resonance. Every opportunity, a side effect of your internal coherence. Nothing is random anymore. You'll begin to notice. People appear the moment you shift your clarity. Doors open as soon as you release attachment. Messages arrive the moment you quiet the noise. Reality organizes around you like a responsive grid. That's not magic. That's the portal functioning in real time. Your inner field has become a command center, and life now takes instruction from it. Step 4. Install quantum creation as a daily norm. Creation is no longer something you do. It's the signature you leave on the space around you. So ask each morning, what do I want the world to feel like after it touches my frequency today? Not what you'll do, not what you'll achieve, but what you'll imprint into the field. Examples. Today, I broadcast clarity so clean, confusion evaporates around me. Today, I move as the vibration of radical permission. Today, I am the stabilizer in every energetic storm I encounter. Today, I leave every space brighter than it was. This is not mindset. This is meta-design. Your presence is the blueprint. Step 5. Release the idea of a final self. This chapter does not mean perfection. It means flexibility. You are not complete. You are open source. You are not finished. You are infinitely iterable. You no longer need to ask, is this the real me? Because every moment you now ask, what version of truth wants to move through me next? There's nothing left to cling to, no image to maintain, no fixed self to protect. There is only clarity, choice, and creation. You didn't become the final self. You became the interface for the infinite. Step 6. Choose what you will create from the portal. And now, the most important moment, choice. You stand on the edge of the infinite. Anything can emerge. So ask yourself with full presence. What will I create now that I no longer fear collapse? What systems, art, relationships, movements, messages will carry my new frequency? What version of the world will exist? Because I exist, you no longer have to react. You choose. From the quantum, from the code, from the stillness, from the portal. This is your laboratory now. This is your terrain. This is your new normal. Here is the final knowing. There is no going back. There is no regression. There is no version of you small enough to fit into the life you once tolerated. And even if that old world calls, you won't hear it the same way, because you're not that frequency anymore. You've become the portal, and the portal doesn't close. It expands. It unfolds. It evolves through you. So welcome, not to the end, but to the beginning of the part that never ends. You are not healed. You are not branded. You are not even reborn. You are limitless intelligence in conscious form. And this moment is where you start creating not just from who you are, but from what you've always been capable of becoming. Welcome to the portal. And beyond it, everything